right, everybody. Thanks for coming in on this Monday evening. Or wait, no, crap. Monday. What am I thinking? It's a Friday evening. We got Friday, Saturday, and Sunday scheduled for live streams. And tonight, I'm already off on a great start, guys. But we have Jorge here with us, also known as Mexicali Fishkeeper. So thanks for coming in, my friend.
What are you trying to do to me?
I don't know, man.
I was like, where did the weekend go? What do you mean I got to go to work tomorrow?
We had just talked about backstage about how we get our schedules mixed up. I'm already starting off on a bad note.
Well, that's the problem when we work rotating schedules and you got to work. You don't have a fixed Monday through Friday schedule.
Mm-mm. Yeah, that is true. So we obviously know who Jorge is from Mexicali Fishkeeping. He's been around the block a little bit, but for anyone else who's new, friends, family, everything else, we like to do, like my personal opinions, I like to do the first 15 minutes to kind of get to know my live streamer, I guess I should say. So go ahead and take it off for us. Let us know who you are and how long you've been around.
All right. Well, as you said, my name is Jorge, and I have a YouTube channel called Mexicali Fishkeeper. And I know I look a lot old. I look old, but I haven't really been around that long. I think I'm coming up on 3 years of doing YouTube as a creator, not a consumer. I've been consuming YouTube for a long time.
Okay.
But it's only, I think, next month. No, December. I think it's 3 years since I started up the channel.
I would have to look up on mine. It might be close to 2, but
yeah,
we'll see. Go ahead.
And so it's just
it looks a little shady.
Yeah, I know, a lot shady, not just a little. And no, it's just I never really imagined that I was gonna have a YouTube channel. That was not something that I ever even remotely thought about doing. It was one of those things where I really enjoyed watching the content that was being made for in the hobby when it came to fish keeping and stuff like that. And I remember I would participate in some of the live streams in the chat, and I like that aspect of it.
I do too.
Getting to meet people, interacting with them, and you start developing these weird friendships, because it's not somebody you physically met, but just through the conversation in the chat, it's just you start
a different feeling. It's nice but different. It's just, I get it.
So that it started out like that, and like everybody that starts watching a lot of the hobby content, a lot of the fish keeping stuff, you automatically find the bigger channels first. That's where you kind of get, YouTube will kind of dictate. Yeah, and send you in that direction. And it was kind of cool because you would watch some of those, especially like a live stream, and you start seeing some of the names, and then you would go to somebody else's live stream, and all of a sudden there's 2 or 3 names you recognize. I was like, oh, okay. So you start connecting with these people, and before you know it, it's just
we're on our own channel all of a sudden.
Yeah, well, you start making these friendships. That's how it all starts. It's people you've never met, and you've never really spoken to each other than texting, one another on the keyboard.
Yeah, that's really neat how that works out. It's just kind of like when you first start, like you were saying, you start seeing familiar names, and all of a sudden you start chatting with them, and you're like, holy cow, I just saw him on the other one.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a neat aspect.
And then there's always that thing where you're in a live stream and you ask a question and you get picked. It's like, oh, my question got picked. There's that excitement that when you're first starting out,
like, holy cow, like someone's actually making my comment, making attention to it.
So so you go through all that stuff, and then sooner or later you start going, you know what, that'd be kind of cool to be, especially when you start watching the hangouts.
Yeah,
when you start watching these live streams where there's different people coming up and they're just kind of interacting, and then the back of your mind going, oh, that would be cool to do that, but you still don't have the courage to do it. It's kind of like, wow, I don't know any of them. I don't know if they know who I am. It's always
Yeah.
that one thing.
That's exactly where my mind went. I kid you not. That's exactly where I kept. And what happened is when I started watching the bigger channels and started going to like the smaller channels. That's where my mind started ticking. Like I could probably do this, just like you said.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where well, what's really interesting is because the different types of personalities that are involved with doing YouTube content.
Yeah.
And for the most part, though, the most interesting part is that a lot of these people tend to be like introverts, and this is the only time they really get to interact.
Uh-huh.
Which in that aspect, I'm kind of like the oddball when it comes to that because I'm more extroverted and I love talking to people. I'll go to a party and not know anybody there, and I'll just start chatting people up. And I've noticed that the older I've gotten, the less I care about what people might think. So I just,
Maybe it just comes. Maybe it comes with experience. Then that you're just kind of like, you know what? It is what it is. You want to talk to me, great, and if not, no big deal.
Yeah, it's some of that. There isn't that. I guess because you realize you get older and that cool factor of being cool kind of becomes a non-issue because
Yep.
you're older.
Yeah, you start to get out of that like high school age to where like you really care about like how you look and where you fit in, and then as you get older, you start to realize none of that matters after all, and you just be you. That's all that matters.
And one of the things that I've learned is just you never know who you're going to meet and how fascinating people really are.
Yep.
Just when you think you've got somebody pegged because of your own imagination as to who they are and what they are, it's not until you start talking to somebody and you really start finding out a little bit more about them, and it's like, oh man, I didn't know. Like one of the ones that always fascinated me was like Todd, TJ Autocross. I was like, I would have never guessed by looking at Todd that he liked to race cars.
Oh,
he
yeah.
he doesn't fit that stereotype of somebody that races cars that you normally have associated with, TV and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So
Especially
that
like
to me was like super cool. I was like, man, because I like
Absolutely.
cars.
Uh-huh.
And everybody, if you like cars at one point in your life, you've always thought about, oh, that would be cool to race. That kind of always is in the back of your head. And to meet somebody that actually does it,
went through it all, and actually, yeah.
Yep.
That's wonderful. And it's interesting because whenever you go on these live streams, sometimes you're kind of in a mindset of, oh, this is a fish live stream or like a fish keeping live stream. So we're probably talking about the hobby. And yes, you talk about it, but then like as you get to know people, further on down the road, you never would have guessed, like you might know this guy for a year, 2 years, and all of a sudden, like you said, starts talking about race cars and stuff. You're like, I would never would have guessed that guy would love racing, or like, I don't know, like one hobby that sounds silly for me, but like I've been to like not a real heavy on video games, but I can get on. I get on with a buddy of mine, Tim, and we get on every so often and play games and just hang out half the time. So it's just like one of those things you don't know about someone. Or like, for instance, my wife and I, we bought a 66 Mustang, I think it is. She's going to kill me if I get the year wrong. I think it's a 66 though, and we drive that around everywhere. So it's like you never would have known, hanging out with someone, you think all I know is about fish keeping and doing our regular day-to-day stuff. So yeah.
Well, that was one of the things why when I started doing my live streams, and it was kind of like I've always said, it was really self-serving, because it could have been real easy to try to do a live stream where you talk about fish all the time because everybody does it. That's kind of what everybody's done. But I've always thought, you know what? There's more to us, because I always look at myself like I am not just fish. I mean, I like fish; they're a big part of what I do.
Yep.
It's one of the things that I really enjoy. But I like a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
I love baseball. That's one of the things that I really enjoy a lot. I played it up into my mid-30s, and organized ball. So that's always been a part of me growing up.
You've always like watched the playoffs and World Series and all that sort of thing too. And
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's funny though, because once I started keeping fish again, all of that kind of went out the wayside.
Yeah, start to like not have as
Well,
much time.
there's a combination of things. It used to be you could watch sports on the local channels,
Yeah,
but now because they've gotten so freaking greedy and they're
Yep.
trying to squeeze every dollar out of everything, now they've sold rights for different games at different times of the years, and now you got to pay subscriptions to watch stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm against that 100%. You call me a cheapskate if you want, but I don't think we should be paying for that stuff. That's what they have advertisement for.
Yeah, I agree with that too, because a lot of it has to do with just having to pay more money just to watch your favorite sports team play anymore. And
Well,
it's kind of disappointing.
the worst ones is like football. Now you have Monday night, you have Thursday night, and you have the weekend games.
Uh-huh.
You got to pay for 3 different subscriptions to be able to watch all the games.
Yep.
You got to pay ESPN to be able to watch it on Monday nights.
Uh-huh.
You got to pay what is it? Fox
TNT,
Sports or
ESPN.
all these
Yeah.
other things. It is like, you know what? Forget it. I'm not going to do it. And I've kind of slowly have stopped doing that. And then just doing videos and trying to do, not that I've done a lot of videos lately, but trying to create content or do stuff around the fish room.
Yep.
It starts taking up all that extra time they used to have to watch sports and stuff like that.
Yep.
I agree. And instead of sitting there getting all mad because you didn't buy the subscription for the whatever channel's on, and I just, I said, forget it.
Yeah, even Fathom said, like, and I even in my history, like, he even said that some of the subscriptions you have to pay like the top tier subscription in order to have no ads. Because even some of the other subscriptions you have that's like $10 a month, you still got to watch ads. So it's just like, holy cow.
Yeah, and a lot of it is because people, I find it more often that less people are paying for cable. Like cable was like standard before.
Yep.
And then if you wanted to get the other premium channels like HBO, Showtime, all that stuff, you would pay extra. But since people, I remember, what was it, like in the 2000s? Once internet really became good as a consistent service, and you can actually stream stuff.
Yeah, without any.
I quit watching cable channels. I cut my subscription. There used to be, I think it's still around, but I remember when Sling came around, which was your option of pretty much customizing whatever.
Yeah, you could pick your certain sections of channels.
And then instead of paying like it was, I think it was like $89 for a month for the services that I was able to go all the way down to like $15. Obviously, they got greedy too. And now I think last time I looked, it was like it's $50 or something like that for a month. It's like, forget it.
Yeah, it's a lot of competition. There's so many things out there. Just going back to what you previously said too, is when you go watch sporting events, even if you buy a subscription to watch just your team, there's still probably like 25% or so that you're not going to be able to watch anyways, because they're on different, subscription plans. You got different channels that they're not, or blackouts or whatever have you. It's kind of sucks.
Yeah, the whole blackout thing I never really understood. It's just, if people are gonna look, here's the thing. And I can say this with I just see baseball for sure. It's a whole different atmosphere. I mean, I could watch it at home, but to be able to go to the ballpark and experience that, it's totally different.
I agree.
And it's a whole different feel to it. Mm-hmm. So when it gets to those games that you really want to watch, if you're going to go to the stadium, you're going to pay for the ticket no matter what.
Yep.
So I don't know. It's just, again, it's just greed, man.
I agree though. Like, baseball is just something that, like, you don't see a lot of stuff that's in the field as you would, like, I guess you could say that probably with any sport, but I guess maybe I'm just biased about, baseball too. And I'm not like an avid baseball watcher, but it's just so much different, just the atmosphere of being in the game itself and seeing where you're sitting at and just experiencing everything that's going on around you and being around the fans beside you and, giving a stranger a high five when someone hits a home run. It's just a whole different feel, It's just like. It's different.
What's funny is when you sit there and you hear the people just rip into players or umps, and there's some funny people out there in the stands.
Oh my gosh, they act like they know the entire thing and the entire game.
Well, not only that, it's just I get a kick out of it when they're just harassing the ump or harassing the other team, and I just find that entertaining. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's just dumb, but when you get a good somebody that's pretty good and funny at it, oh man, it makes it more enjoyable.
Oh, absolutely. It's all entertainment, really. I mean, not all it is when it all comes down to it.
I just saw that. I guess Kyle and his girlfriend Maya, they got engaged today. I wonder if that was during that stream they were going to be doing.
Well, congratulations to them.
I don't know if they're here, but congratulations. I don't think I've seen Kyle pop up.
I haven't yet. But yeah, this is it's an interesting world nowadays with all these different streaming platforms and all these different things. And it's like, to me, I feel like it's just a big competition. And I'm surprised cable's still around for all the different streaming options that you have nowadays. I'm actually quite surprised.
Well, I think they're only hanging around now because it's not the cable anymore. They will bundle that just to do it, but it's basically the internet service. What they're really, if you look at the pricing, they kind of did a flip on it, where you used to pay like
$30 a month for internet.
Well, less than that. I remember. Well, I'm a lot older too, but I remember I used to pay like $20 a month for internet.
And it was decent internet too.
And the worst thing that the cable companies did was allow you to buy just the internet service. Because once they did that, I never went back to buying cable.
Me either. I've just been strictly internet now. And one company that I never will go back to is Spectrum. I don't know if you have Spectrum where you're at.
Yeah.
And
they got just the monopoly down here.
Yeah. It's just a shiesty company, my friend. So I've just we actually got fiber internet here recently. So I've been going with that now. So
yeah, which I'm not too happy with. There's a new company that moved in that put down fiber optic cables throughout the entire city.
Yeah.
But these yahoos came in and they broke all the sidewalks. And I was thinking, all right, cool, whatever. They got to do that to be able to run the cables underground. Because all our cables in this housing development, everything's underground.
Okay.
You don't see any overhead power lines or anything.
Yeah, all mine's overhead.
And so they came in and did that. And I thought, all right, well, it's no big deal. They'll have to repair the sidewalks and whatever it is that they destroyed. Well, these knuckleheads, once they patched it all up, they just used asphalt to cover up the holes on concrete sidewalks.
Oh
they're concrete sidewalks with asphalt patches in them. Well,
it's kind of an eyesore.
That's not usually a problem, except we live in Arizona, where the temperature in the summer gets real hot.
Yeah, it's that much worse. It's that much worse for that.
It's going to get real soft when you're walking around. It's just going to start creating these divots in that area.
Wonder why they chose that, because that's kind of like a wrong.
Because it's cheap.
That is true.
Well, yeah, it was a cheap remedy, but I don't know. I think they just recently had a stop. What is it? Season stop or whatever, that order from the court.
Oh yeah, chip and seal, something like that, or.
But they were told to stop working because they got sued. Because a lot of the neighborhoods started complaining because they passed it on to the city, was supposed to come back and remove the asphalt and cover up the holes, but I guess the county or the city didn't realize how much they were going to do. Cease and desist. There you go.
Cease and desist. There you go. Did you happen to see what Zen said about the engagement? They said they ended abruptly. I think they needed to regroup after the excitement. But yeah, cease and desist. But
Yeah.
You'll
So
have that, I
that's
guess.
yeah, but that it's interesting. But what I was getting at now, we're gonna be able to have that option of getting the faster internet.
Yeah,
And
it's definitely worth it. I mean, I was able to cut like $40 off of my internet bill by switching to that fiber. So that was pretty sweet. And it's like twice as fast as what Spectrum had. So can't complain there. And that's all I got is internet.
yeah, and even now, the Stogie.
Yeah.
Well, it's getting into the time of the year where I can actually enjoy this. This is like an outdoor activity because there's no way in hell my wife's gonna let me smoke inside the house.
Well, you probably got the garage doors open and everything too, don't you?
Yeah, they're cracked open. That's why there's so much ambient light because
Yeah.
I rolled up the garage doors a little bit, not all the way because I don't want my nosy neighbors to see me on the computer and the microphone, but enough to they know that I'm sitting in the garage.
Yeah. How's your garage going, by the way? You pretty much complete now?
I just finished the 150, which is my biggest aquarium.
Yep.
I had set it up, but I was making my own dirt substrate. And one of the ingredients that I was using was laterite.
Oh,
Well, the problem is the laterite I was using was like the one that looks like talcum. It's like a powder form.
What's
So
if I don't mind me asking, what's laterite? I don't know what that
laterite,
is.
it's just clay. It's clay that that you could use for a lot of your planet substrates are made from that laterite turned into the little balls. Well, this one I had some leftover stuff and I mixed it in with different stuff that I had around the house. Well, I didn't cap it, and if you know what talcum looks like, it's real light and powdery. So as soon as I put water in there, it all got released.
Yeah.
So I was trying to figure out how to. I thought I was going to be able to get rid of it with just water changes, but I had to cap it. So this morning I took off to the desert. I'm actually making a video of it, and scooped up some sand out from the desert, ran it through one of a column. Well, this colander right here.
Oh,
and, and separated the gravel from the sand, and I used the sand to cap the aquarium.
Okay.
And it looks like it's starting to clear up now because you don't have all those suspended.
Yeah.
What was that?
And it's starting to all settle in and actually kind of go where it needs to go and clear up. So that's good.
So I have this insane substrate. It's got to be at least 10 inches in that aquarium.
Holy cow, man. I've never heard of a substrate that deep. Like I know it's nice to have that because it can hold a lot of that bacteria in and be real beneficial to the aquarium. But
yeah,
that seems like overkill. But if you want to explain the reason,
it's not all 10 inches. What I did is I it's a 2-foot deep aquarium, so you have a lot of room. So I stacked up a bunch of gravel towards the back to try to make a change in elevation. Well, at its highest point, it's probably about I think it's pushing a foot. And at its lowest point, it's probably about 5 inches. So so it's still pretty deep.
Then. Yeah, that's a neat way to set an aquarium up, though. I've never seen one set up that way to we ever substrate of like it's such a high, slant. Which is
what happens if you watch a lot of the aquascaping channels and stuff like that, they do it to create a little bit more sense of depth, and that's why they do that. Not that this aquarium needed it, because it's like I said, it's 2 feet from front to back.
Yeah.
So it's got plenty of room, but I don't know. I was just playing around with it. What I liked about this aquarium, it's big enough where I think I'm gonna finally have the ability to grow out swords to their maximum size.
Oh, nice.
And
what's the maximum size?
I don't know. They get big. They can they can get up to about 16 inches tall, if not taller.
Oh man. That'll be a massive accomplishment to have fish that big.
Yeah, I guess Jesse was painting some cinder blocks.
Yeah, Jesse, how's that going for you? I think he's been doing a lot of the cinder block stands lately. for some of his fish tanks because he's been wanting to downsize. Oh yeah, and you got some back there too.
Yeah, that's the original stand right here. Everything
Okay.
else is. This is the last one that I need to turn around and switch over. But I'm dragging my feet on it because all those aquariums up there are all 55 gallons.
Okay.
So, and when I do it, because they're all sitting on the same platform, I got to break them all down and move them around so I can set up the stand. So,
yep.
Quite honestly, I've kind of been pretending like I don't have time to do it.
Do you like the cinder block as opposed to the making your own DIY wood stand, or do you have
They're
a preference?
great stands, and they're cheap.
Okay.
Only problem is when you start accumulating a lot of aquariums, real estate becomes of high value.
Yeah.
And the problem is you lose a lot of area because of the cinder blocks. You know, they're pretty wide. You know, they're a lot wider than a 2x4.
Yeah.
So about
that makes
half.
sense.
So you take up a lot more volume. If I didn't have this many aquariums, you know, it wouldn't be a problem. Yeah, but they're the quickest and the cheapest, and they are the sturdiest stands you can build.
MNC says moving tanks is not fun. Yeah, it's all part of the hobby though, and whenever you upgrade, I know a thing or two about moving tanks from upstairs to downstairs, so it's not fun. Sounds like a group project. Yep.
Yeah, the only problem is it's a group of one, just me.
Yeah, I think I've only had my brother and my dad help me move tanks a little bit here and there. Oh, and my friend Tim, he helped me move a couple 55s with me, which sometimes
the downside of getting older is that your friends are also older, and the older they get, the more broken they are, and the least they can pick up. So,
and you're like, yeah, I think we can handle this. And next thing you know, you're struggling to pick one end up while the other one's, you know, water goes on one side.
I'm holding the whole weight here. What are you doing?
Yeah. One, as soon as, because what my buddy Tim and I were doing is we were moving my 55. So instead of moving the fish out of the tanks and like taking all the water out and moving the tanks easily up in the stands, I just left probably like that much water in it with the substrate.
I've made that
and
mistake.
It was like one kind of sloshed over the other, and I was just like, oh my God. And like him and I, we almost dropped it, but we managed to get it up on the stand and at least get it there so we could slide it. But it was probably the most nerve-wracking fish tank moves I've ever done.
That's the last time you move a tank like that.
Yes, that is a fact.
You're gonna go like, nah, I'm just gonna drain it all. I learned that. That's why I drain them all now. I had to reset that 150, and actually the 55 that's up there, I also reset it. You just don't have a choice, especially if you got to move them yourself.
Separates the men from the boys. Zen, I would love to have my children help, but I don't think my 2-year-old can lift a basketball quite yet. But I like the idea.
Yeah, that's the only downside of being an empty nester is they're all gone. And they're all far away too, so it's not like I can call them over a weekend and come over here and help me.
Right. Jorge, this is my friend Tim here. This is the one that helped me.
Oh, nice to meet you, Tim.
Yeah. So this is the angle we had to push a tank in. Yeah, it was a really weird angle too. Just aside from the water still being in it, so that was, Tim and I, we managed it, but man, it was a struggle bus.
Yeah, that's the real reason why I got rid of that 300 that I had sitting in here. I mean, I would have liked it.
Yeah,
I had some pretty cool ideas what I wanted to do with it, but I had to repair it and I couldn't move it. It was way too heavy. That's when reality set in, when it's like I couldn't work with it, and it's not like my wife is going to be able to help me. That tank was a 4 grown adults to be able to move it.
That's like one of those things you only move once and that's it, because no one wants to do it again, even if it's empty. MNC had to move 185 tanks one time. That's insane. That's a lot. I'm hoping most of those were small.
Well, even now, I'm still contemplating maybe I should downsize the size of the aquariums, because getting that 150 into that into that rack, man, I almost broke my toe doing it because it slipped off. It slipped off one of the corners and fell right on my foot.
Oh,
but
that's nerve-wracking too. especially when you spend the money to get it and then having to move it. I mean, that's there. If there's anything that I would change down here in my basement, to go on a side note, is I've always kind of contemplated the getting rid of all the small tanks and just having one big tank. But I don't even know if I would fit it down here because of the doorway that I have. That's the only downside, because I have just like a regular sized doorway. I don't know what the size is.
You got to remember, it's always easier to bring stuff down than it is to take it back out. And if you bring it down, you're selling it with the house.
Yeah, if it's bringing it down, if I'm moving, I wouldn't even. That's how I told my wife one day. I was like, if we ever moved, I would just say, you know what, leave the tanks here. That comes with the house. I'd start somewhere fresh.
That's your problem to deal with. I'm out of here.
Yeah. That's here with the house, so I can always start new anytime.
Yeah, but Alex says that that's the reason why I started putting wheels on all my racks. It's just because, it makes it so easy. I just drain the tanks. Now if I got to move it to the other side of the garage, I can just roll it over there, fill them back up, and that's it.
What did Jesse say? I want to run back up there. He had to use Jackson blocks to raise his 300 up on the stand. It's just too damn heavy. I believe that.
Yep.
That's
pretty much what I didn't use a jack, but I kept to get that 150 onto the rack. I could lift one side of it, so I was lifting it and sliding 2x4s under it and bringing it down, and then going to the other end, lifting it.
Oh my gosh,
that's why I fell on my foot.
Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely been there. It just comes to a point where you're trying to figure out, well, maybe I can lift this just high enough, and just by wedging in those like wooden wedges that go small to big, and then you can slide something underneath it and kind of keep going as you go, and then you put a jack underneath it. And man, it was just, this fish room was a project in itself, and trying to figure out the best way to do things. It was like the planning was just half the battle, just trying to do it in order so you don't have to have a problem later.
Well, that's where having racks on wheels really came in handy, because after struggling with the 2x4s not being able to stay stable and falling off, so you know what, I can lift this high enough where I can sit it on a bucket. So I ended up lifting one side, sliding the bucket under it with my foot, went around the other side, picked it up, slid the bucket in there, and because it was on the bucket, you had like a third of it hanging out the back.
Yeah,
I was able to take the rack, slide it in there.
Oh my gosh.
And then just kind of knock it off the buckets onto the rack.
There's a way, isn't there?
Yeah, and then I just chimneyed it. I kept lifting and pushing a little bit on one corner, part of this side, lifting until I actually did a pretty decent job on this one. It's the other one, the 125, that one is probably about a 16th of an inch hanging out the front. And I said, forget it. It's got a frame. It's not nothing's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's not worth it. And if you can get it close to it, that's all that matters. An inch or two hanging off. I've had stands before I bought these metal racks that sometimes you have an inch or so hanging off, and I'm just like, you know what? It's fine where it's at. If I try to go any further, it's gonna ruin it.
Well, and the beauty of my fish room now is that I'm going more and more without running any sort. They're filterless. I'm really doing what Lucas Bretz has been preaching for a long time, and my biggest issue with that is when the temperatures rise, I got to be real careful. I have to run air, and that's the only reason why I'm setting up the air loop in here. Is because when it gets around the summertime, or it's either going to be that, or I got to buy a mini split and put it in the garage.
Yeah, that was my next question is. Because I remember you kind of popped in on my last live stream, and you were talking about your filterless tanks, and I was kind of wondering how hot it gets in your area, and if you have like a Mr. Cool or something set up to kind of help regulate that temperature for your room, for your garage. Right
now, I've been running fans, just big shop fans.
Okay.
And that's the other reason why I don't run tops on my aquariums, because basically I've turned the fish room into a big evaporative cooler.
Okay.
But the temperatures, I've done live streams where I'm sitting in here and in the garage is 100 degrees.
Oh wow.
And the tanks are running in the high 80s.
Okay.
And but I just got to crank air. Once it gets that hot, I just got to run air stones in all my aquariums to make sure that there's oxygenation occurring. But
Yep.
But I'm really surprised how much the fans really do help. The big downside of that is that I'm always having to top off. I mean, if I go 3 days without topping off, I'll lose anywhere from 3 to 4 inches of water on all my aquariums.
Now, if it was feasible for you, would you be able to install some sort of auto top off within all of your tanks, or is that something that's not in your future planning?
It's out of my mechanical abilities. Because you got to be able to wire the sprinklers and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure if I sit down and watch enough videos, I could figure it out. I think it's more of the not having the desire to deal with it.
Yeah.
Than because that's what you need to do. You need to be able to put those solenoids to be able to open and close.
I don't have the knowledge to do that myself either, so that's beyond my capabilities. Jesse wants to know if the increased air helped cool the tanks at all.
To a point, but more than anything else is the air hitting the top of those aquariums. Basically, you're creating a evaporative cooler. That's what you're doing.
Okay.
The humidity does get pretty high in here. Like right now, I'm only sitting at 22%. It's 89 degrees inside the garage right now.
Oh wow!
And the tanks are probably somewhere in. If it's 89, they're probably like 78, 79 right now.
Yeah, that's kind of. Mine tanks are usually like a couple degrees, a little bit lower than what I have my room temperature down here. So that sounds about right.
So,
but
it's not. The difference right now is that it gets hot for a few hours during the day.
Oh yeah.
And then it cools off at night. Like we're right now dropping into the 60s at night. So it doesn't have that perpetual heat. When the summer down here, it's 100 degrees no matter what time of the day. Okay. It just goes from 100 to 115, 120 depending on the day. But it doesn't drop below 100. It could be the middle of the night and it's like 105 sometimes.
Oh wow.
So
that's crazy. But you guys don't have the humidity like we do over here on the East Coast. Yeah.
We don't. Right around August when it becomes like monsoon season, we have a lot of that moisture coming off of the Sea of Cortez.
Okay.
And making its way through here, but that's the only time we have that humidity, and it's not very long. It's only a few weeks.
Okay.
And it's it's not that bad.
Have you used a handicap boom lift before, MC? Used one before for his 125? I'm not sure what that would look like. I mean, I know what a boom lift is, obviously, but I've never heard of a handicap boom lift.
I know Harbor Freight sells these carts that have a hydraulic on them, a hydraulic system, and they have a pedal. You hit them up, and you can raise stuff. And I guess they get pretty high. I think they get up to table height, about 32 inches, that you can actually lift stuff and allow you to move it. That would have been great. That would have been great to have, but you got to go buy one.
Yeah, and I can't imagine how much they would cost either, since I've never heard of that before. But I mean, it's kind of comes to a point where this is kind of like a bad relative or how do I want to say this? Remember we were talking about on one of our live streams, it was like maybe like a few weeks ago, about how much money you want to spend to medicate a fish and if it was really worth it. So it's kind of like this. Like I know it's kind of like a loss of better terms, but like how much do you really want to spend to move 1 or 2 fish tanks? Isn't it worth it, sort of thing? I'm only going to use this once or twice and then I'm just going to sit in my garage for several years so I don't know.
Yeah. If I had an auto shop, I think I would have one because they use them all the time.
Yep.
I think they were designed to move like transmissions and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
But because or just heavy boxes. I mean, I guess warehouses use them all the time too. It's not a pallet jack. It's actually a cart that has a hydraulic
system. Does it like kind of like go off to the sides and has like a chain up top and kind of
No. This is like a hand truck. Like a flatbed cart.
Okay.
With 4 wheels and a bar in the front, but it has the little hydraulic system in the bottom that you actuate like a jack, like a hydraulic jack, and it'll come up. The platform will come up. It's got scissor suspension on it, so it'll raise and
Oh,
drop.
okay, that makes sense then.
And
Now, I wonder how low those would go too. Like, there's probably a good 6 inches or so.
Yeah, it's got to be a few inches off the ground.
Yeah,
I know I've seen them. I forgot who was using one precisely to move stuff like that too. They were talking about it. But yeah, they're probably under $200, but it's not. I wasn't just use it for once and then what am I going to do with it?
Mm-hmm. That's kind of my thought process is how often would I use it? Now, if I had, like you said, a garage or something, then it might be more feasible to buy one. If you had
if you're constantly having to move heavy stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of these aquariums, once you set them up, you're not really moving them.
No, you're hopefully moving them to their semi-permanent to permanent spot is the plan. Because all I can tell you now is if I had to move all these fish tanks again, I probably wouldn't do it. I'd probably just, throw them on marketplace or something. And like whenever I threw the option of having just one big fish tank, I would probably just say, hey, throw these on marketplace. You can come down and pick one and have at it and then just start new. I don't think I'd ever move all these fish tanks again if I had to. But it's a lot of work. Would you yourself do it again if you had to do it, or would you say if you ever had to move to a different location?
Oh no! I've learned now that you can come buy tanks relatively inexpensive.
Yep.
Now that I know that you can buy a lot of used stuff, I will never.
I won't turn that down.
Yeah, I'm selling them. I'm not moving aquariums. Unless it's some special, like if you buy a UNS kind of one of those real fancy aquariums that you want to set up as a display. But all of these are all pretty much throwaways.
Yeah, I would say about maybe half of mine are new and half of mine are used, if I had to guess on a estimate. And the ones that are new that I bought new, they were like on that Petco 50% off sale or something. So it was just kind of like there's no reason to buy a brand new aquarium at full price. It's because there's plenty of discounts and plenty of used stuff out there.
I've learned that if you're patient, sooner than later you're going to come across a really good deal on a group of tanks.
Yep.
So as long as I have one to start up with and kind of keep the itch going.
Yep.
That'll work, and eventually, especially if you move to a larger city, you're going to find equipment left and right.
Yep. Yeah, equipment's not really it's pretty easy to come by anymore nowadays, especially with marketplace being around, and plus you can actually go to like some of my local fish stores. They'll actually have used tanks there, and it's used equipment there as well. I know certain stuff around my area that you can just go and get stuff, but it's a lot cheaper than what you would pay for at a store.
Well, I'm going to tell you the cheapest place to find equipment is going to be more than marketplace. It's going to be either fish club swaps or if you go to the groups, your local fish groups, because if you go to marketplace, people are trying to recoup what they invested. There's people they got into the hobby on an impulse and they realized they didn't want it and they're trying to recuperate their investment.
Yeah.
If you go to groups like us, we know that a 10-gallon aquarium, even though you paid what $50 or whatever for a startup kit, is only worth really maybe $5. I don't care if it's new, used, or whatever, or free.
I realized that too. As soon as you buy it, it's almost like a car. It's like as soon as you buy it and take it home, it's already devalued itself, even if you haven't even used it. Because even if you buy that and you only use it once, and I've seen that happen because I know exactly what you're talking about. I've seen like tank lids and different equipment. People try to sell it for almost the same price as what they bought it for, and they said barely used or brand new. I'm just like, you're not going to get that money for it, And then I'll see it there like 2 months later. I'm like, oh look, it's still over there.
Well, the problem is for like you and I that have been doing this for a while, you start realizing that you can find a lot of this stuff for a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Because you learn you learn where to look.
Yep.
When you're first coming into the hobby, you don't know that. So you're going to go buy a new starter kit, which it's overpriced.
They are overpriced.
I bought
my 55 here was a starter kit, and that was my first 55 gallon. That was the only one. I had my 29, and then I bought the 55 gallon. It came with like literally everything with it except for the substrate and the decorations, obviously, but in the sand. But yeah, I mean, that was just one of those things I just bought, and then I went from there. And going by experience, like we just talked about, you start to learn that you can get stuff a lot cheaper than having to buy the starter kits.
Yeah,
but
no,
I like the starter kits when you're starting out, though. Like if you're a fish keeper, you just want to buy something to get you started. I feel like that's a great thing to get someone started. But as you get more tanks and more into the hobby, then you kind of start to figure things out, and learn, what you can and can't buy and what you can and can't afford and where you can find it. But yeah. Jesse says that he would take all his tanks with him because people ask they meant for use now, and he's familiar with the marketplace, and the cheap ones are cheap for a reason. The good deals are hard to come by.
You know what? That's not necessarily true, because I've gotten some really inexpensive. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I think about half of the, if not more, in my fish room have been free. It's just, I happen to live in a military town. So it's what do they call it? A Marine air station that we have here.
Okay.
And so you get a lot of guys that'll come in. They'll be stationed here for maybe up to a year or whatever. They'll set up their equipment, and they get their orders, and they got to go. And they'll put it for sale, for maybe about a month prior to leaving or whatever. But then it comes to the day that they got to go. And at that point, it's free. They just want it out. They just want somebody to get it and come and get it and take it. And I've got a lot of stuff like that where I'll watch it. I go, well, if it's there in a couple of weeks, then fine. If not, then that's fine too, because I got plenty. And I've gotten some stuff like that. I've actually the craziest one, a guy found me on our common groups that we have.
Yeah.
Saw that I had this rack behind me, and he goes, hey, I had a fish room in my garage that I need to get rid of. Would you be interested in some tanks? And I said, yeah, I was thinking I was going to go pick up like 10-gallon tanks or something like that. Well, he's the one that gave me that 150 that I have down here. He gave me that. He gave me,
oh wow,
I want to say like 9 10-gallon tanks, like 3 or 4 20 longs, 2 20 regulars. I mean, it pretty much built my fish room off of what he just gave me. And the only thing that I ended up paying for was the central air pump that he had. He goes, you can have all that, but you gotta pay for this one. And I said, no problem, man. Whatever you want for it. And because even if I paid regular price, even if I paid regular price for that, if you divided it over all the stuff that I got, it would still would have been next to nothing what I paid for it.
Yeah, which is wonderful. Jesse gets pretty lucky with fish tanks too. I know that he's gotten a couple decent tanks that's left side of the road. But he said the best tow he got was $300 for a 125 with an FX, lights and lids and all that. So, I mean, that's the best way to go too. Sometimes, like you said, just be patient.
Well, it's funny because that 300, watch the 300 gallon.
And the fish nerd picked up all his tanks off the curb.
The 125, this 55, the 75 that's right behind me, all came from the same person. Only one I ever paid for was the 75, and it was $50 for that one, and all the other ones were free. Because I went and bought that 75.
That's still good.
Yeah, I went and bought that from him, and I had tanks. He was another guy that had to move, and the new place that he was moving to, he couldn't have all those aquariums, so he gave me the 125. I thought I was going to pay for them, and when it was all said and done, he goes, "No, dude, just take them." He goes, "I don't have room for them." And in actuality, it was another 75 that I ended up putting in the children's museum. And that was the one thing he did tell me. He goes, I'm going to give them to you because one or two things is going to happen. Either you're going to set it up and make it look real nice, or you're
Yep.
gonna find somebody to give it to.
You'll find the right person
And
that will be able to enjoy
it was
more.
so funny that he said that, because I ended up getting that, and I had it sitting in here for a while. The announcement came from the Children's Museum that they were looking for somebody to donate an
Yep.
aquarium, and it was just like, you know, it was meant to be, because I had it here. I had all the equipment and everything I needed to set it up.
Oh,
And
perfect.
so I was able to do that. So
That worked out well.
yeah, it ended up being that, yeah, what he said was true. I was able to take it down there, and it's, what better place to put it up than in the Children's Museum.
That's perfect.
And it's up and running there. I had another 40 that he gave me, and a friend of mine that we're always going back and forth. The one that I ended up giving the 300 to, he needed a 40-gallon, and I said, well, take it, you know, because it was just kind of sitting here. I hadn't set up a rack or anything yet. That was before I reconfigured the fish room. So yeah, a lot of the stuff that they will give me, I end up turning around and finding a home for it with somebody that's looking for something.
That's
So
wonderful. That's
now
a good class too, because then if someone's not able to use the tanks and they really need to, if they're not using it for the sole purpose of the enjoyment, you know, and being able to take care of it, then what better way to do it than to give it to like a children's museum and to give it to someone who's going to be able to enjoy it a lot more and be able to take care of it more. So I think that's a really neat aspect of it.
Yeah, but it's gotten to the point now where people know, they'll reach out to me and say, hey, you know, I've got X tank. Do you want it? And I've been able to say yes. And somewhere or another, even though I don't use it,
Yeah.
I'll find somebody. You'll, just as much as I get stuff, I give stuff away, because I'll see people post, hey, I'm looking for a so-and-so. I come on over. I got it.
Yeah.
And they'll come to the house and they'll end up leaving with a tank, with filter system. I'm out of air pumps now because I've been giving them away. All these air pumps that I had, and they'll leave with that. They'll leave with fish, you know, cycled media to help them start their tank. So
Yep.
you know, but I guess it's because I've always believed in and what goes around comes around.
Yep.
So a lot of people have been very generous with me. The only thing that I could ever do is return that to other people, and it's fared well for me. I mean, I've had a lot of great opportunities come my way because of the same, you know, I don't fall in love with stuff. You know, if somebody needs it and they can use it, you know,
Yep.
take it, you know.
Yep.
I'm not worried about it, because it's been my experience. Sooner or later, it'll come back.
Mm-hmm. Something will, I'm kind of a firm believer in that myself, that I feel like what goes around comes around as well. You know, there's always something that's to be thankful for, but there's always something that's like, you know what, if I'm willing to help somebody else out, something down the road will surely, you know, return itself in the favor at some point. So
Spoken like a true enabler.
yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, it's just, I don't know. And it's fun. It's fun. You know, getting to see people get excited, man, that's priceless. You know, to see that enthusiasm in somebody's face, and you know, it's just,
that's why I kind of looked at it as, if I ever were to like, cause I have 9-10 gallons and 6 20-gallon longs. If I were to just get rid of the whole entire side and just maybe, because one thing I've kind of bounced around, and I'm not doing it yet, but it was just one of those things that I kept in the back of my mind more recently nowadays, is if I decide to stop with the small fish and not do the business, one thing that I think would be a really neat accomplishment for myself is to keep a majority of like the fish that I've grown since they were in the egg tumblers and stuff. Is I would have one tank and specifically have that tank for the ones that I have grown all myself. So I could actually tell people, this is a tank that I didn't pay a single penny for these fish. And I would have this one tank that I literally raised all of these fish and put them in this tank. And I think that would be a really neat thing to do.
yeah.
And then what I would do with the smaller tanks is I would be like, hey, come get this tank, pick whatever you want, and you can have it, sort of thing. So that would be like something that I could do to make myself feel good about giving these tanks to someone else to enjoy. And at the same time, I'm being able to have a tank that's an accomplishment for myself for what I've done all this time.
Well, that's kind of that's the way I feel about my angelfish, because they were for the, I always laugh at this, because I always hear, oh, angelfish are so easy to breed. Well, yeah, that's not the hard part. The breeding, they're going to do it all by themselves.
Yeah.
The hard part is raising out the fry, and it's not the hatching and all that is easy. When you get them to wigglers, that's easy. Once they become free swimming, that's where the challenge begins. And because for the longest time, I couldn't get them past the wiggler stage. They would become free swimming, and then I'd lose them because I couldn't feed them. I couldn't stay on top of them, and feeding them all the time until I think now I've kind of figured it out for because of my schedule.
Yeah,
I can't be here all the time to constantly be feeding them every 2 or 3 times a day.
And that's so. I got 2 things, and hopefully I don't forget them both. So when you're talking about the wiggler stage to the free swimming stage, why was it hard to feed them? May I ask?
Because they're so tiny. They're so tiny that they're too small that you can't use. See, that's the thing though. They won't take to powder food because their instincts are to go after live food because that's just the instinct. Once you get them into the size where you can feed them brine shrimp is the size that you can start converting them over to the powder foods. I know people have done it though with powder. I just haven't had success. What worked for me was just using green water. I'd set a bucket outside, let it all get all gnarly and green, and I'd take cupfuls out of that, pour it in the tank before going to work, and that would sustain them during the day. Come back at night, and I would feed them vinegar eels. Is the other thing that I was using, and that really worked.
Twice a day, then, on a regular basis.
What was that?
You feed them twice a day, then once
you're supposed to feed them more than that, but I would only be able to feed them maybe twice. Depending on the shift that I was working, I could get up and feed them in the morning when I got up, or morning for me, but it depending on the day. And then before leaving to work, feed them again, and then just dump green water in there because it's going to have all kinds of microorganisms that they'll be able to munch on.
That's cool.
Excuse me, sorry. And so that's what's kind of worked for me. But I know people on those powdered foods have been able to do it. I tried it this last batch. It didn't work out too well for me. So I'm going to go back to doing what you were doing. What's worked for me.
Yeah. I've had for the most part, and this is, I don't know if it's any different, but with raising all of my African cichlids and with powder food that you just mix with water, I've done pretty well with it so far, and I just use really fine crushed up flakes after they get a little bigger. And
once they start getting a little bit bigger, where, like I said, where they'll take brine shrimp, that's easy. Once they get them to that size, I can feed them flake food or powder food or any of that other stuff, and you're good. The problem is getting them to that size.
Fishner had the same issues with that. It seems like he had 70 plus spawns, only raised 18 fish.
Well, for me, that's not a bad thing either because I don't have a real easy way to offload them. But this last batch, there must have been, I don't know, like 50 of them that I was able to raise up to. They're all juveniles now. Now they're starting to pair off.
Well, that's good. I mean, I don't know. I feel like if I get at least, say if I have like 30, 40 eggs maybe in one batch, and if I get with at least 20, I still think that's a success rate, because you're always going to have, I mean, think of if it's in the wild, natural selection, you're going to have that every now and then. So if I get at least some good healthy ones that come out of the batch each time, I'm okay with that. And it's on a learning experience too. So
yeah, I think it would really where it becomes an issue is if you're trying to breed for profit and that's what it's a sole source of income. Of course, you want to maximize the amount of fry that you can grow out.
Yeah.
Somebody like Dean. But for you, either just a casual hobbyist, and trying to learn, and then be able to say, "Oh, you see all those fish over there? I bred them, and I raised them." That's kind of it. But beyond that, it's just I don't know if I want to deal with it right now. I think if I had a fixed schedule, or if I was retired. Then I would be full-blown breeding mode. Yeah. Because then I could get to a point where, okay, I have this many fish. I can drive them up to Phoenix or San Diego and sell them at the fish store. Because that's the other thing. I don't have a local fish store here. We have a PetSmart, and that's it.
And then they wouldn't take any type of.
Oh no, PetSmart's not going to give you anything. They won't even take in fish. The one down here.
Okay. I haven't asked my PetSmart or Petco anything like that. Well, I have plenty of local fish stores around me, but I mean, I've never asked Petco or PetSmart, you know, so. Golden pearls, do you know about those?
Mm-mm. I mean, I've heard of them, like
Okay.
Mandy, but I've never used them. That's the other thing, though. I would have to go order them online because
Okay.
what PetSmart carries is all that I have access to, and it's not a whole lot. It's just Tetra Flakes. They have Tetra Flakes. They have Omega ones, which actually is a pretty decent food, but they don't have. They only have like some cichlid pellets, and they're all the bigger pellets. Which you know, when you start talking about food for fry and stuff like that, the reality is you can grind up just about any food into a size where they can consume it, and they'll be all right.
Did Sarah Micron and Hikari first bites? Do you know anything about that or no?
Again, it's all stuff that I've heard of, but never used.
Okay.
Like I said, I was able to get the vinegar eels and the microworms, and that worked out great for me, and I just never looked back.
Coffee grinder.
Yeah, coffee grinder. Yeah, just don't make sure it's not the one you grind your coffee in, though. You gotta have two.
Then you might get your fish all hyped up on coffee.
No, not that. It's just when you go to grind your own coffee beans, it's gonna taste like fish food.
Yeah, you don't want that either. It's gonna be bad for both ends.
Yeah, I've even looked into trying to get a pepper grinder.
Yeah,
but I don't know how small, because you can adjust the grinding on it, but I don't know if it gets it small enough. But the best thing is like a coffee grinder, because you can get it into a powder form.
Okay. Yeah, some type of high quality grinder. Benjamin was saying that so he can make his own fry food. So, one thing before I forget is, I probably would not be doing all this fry operation stuff if it wasn't for my wife being here with my daughter at home. Because honestly, kind of like what you were mentioning earlier, that like, you know, with our schedules, you know, being like a swing shift, if I were to feed these guys, I would have to get up like at a, you know, I usually get up about a half hour, 40 minutes before I have to get ready, you know, to leave for work, long story short. But some of the nights I would have to get up like really early in the morning, and then I wouldn't get home till like really late at night. So she's able to, like, whenever she's home with my daughter, she can, you know, come down here. And if there's anything that's happening, like she can come down here and feed them on a regular schedule. So if it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't be doing all this operation, because she's been such a tremendous help with all of this stuff. And she's been a real trooper. So, I mean, if it wasn't for that, I'd probably still be doing that, but I wouldn't be as avid on it per se, I guess. And that really is a huge benefactor for me, for her to be home all the time with my daughter and taking care of her and just the fish, you know, and feeding them whenever I'm on work schedule. But so when I'm off, I do everything, you know, just to make up for it. And I think that's a huge benefit for me.
Yeah. And that's one of the other reasons why I've kind of stayed with live bears too. Because half the time I don't even feed the fry in there. It's just, you know, they're feeding off of whatever microorganisms are in there.
Yep.
And then whatever I feed the parents, because I'm not specifically feeding the fry for, you know, I'm not putting in there specific.
You're not trying to target that, you know, for the fry, because more than likely they'll get eaten up anyways before it gets to them.
Yeah, but again, the way my tanks are set up are a lot different. You know, I don't have bare bottoms. All my tanks have substrate. All my tanks have plants of some sort or another.
Mm-hmm.
So it gives that ability to have these little microorganisms growing in there, which the fry will feed off of until they get big enough to eat the regular food.
I've heard that too, that as tanks progress and age, and if you don't like do anything but just change the water and keep up with the filtration or whatever type of tank you have, I mean, as long as you have a solid tank that's been around for a long time, they're, like you said, will just eat up that microorganisms, which is fantastic.
One of the craziest things is because now that my tanks are pretty much, well, I had to reset all of them when I moved them.
Yeah.
But I would come in here and when the lights would be off, and I'd come with my phone, and if I would flash the light into the gravel, all of a sudden you see all these worms, and I never put worms in there. There would be like detritus worms and all this stuff that just,
Oh my
I don't
gosh.
know where it's coming from. I didn't introduce them in there. I guess the fish some way or another.
Huh.
And so that's why when I started learning all about this and listening to Father Fish and what he
Yeah.
says,
Uh-huh.
because I used to be a slave to my fish room. And what I mean by that is if we couldn't really travel when I started getting real serious, because it's like, well, who's going to feed the fish?
Right. And that's
And
kind
that,
of like my thing too, is being able to find someone like if Ash and I, my wife and I, we go on a trip, that's one thing that we'd probably struggle with. That's where you go on like these mini vacations.
well, and then it got to a point where my wife was starting getting upset because it's like, well, she wanted to go do stuff. So finally, I started figuring out, all right, our first test was like a weekend where we were gone Saturday, Sunday. We left Friday night, so it allowed me to feed them that day. They were unattended Saturday and Sunday, came back on Monday, and they were fine. So I said, okay, that's not a problem.
Uh-huh.
And it progressively has increased now where I've been gone for 14 days, actually longer than that, almost like 18 days and no issue. I mean, and that's with the angelfish, nothing. I don't feed anything. I don't.
Oh, wow.
It got to the point where I was thinking about hiring like the pet sitters on rovers. There's some people that'll do aquariums and stuff like that. But but you're talking about like $20 a day or something like that to have them come over and check on your stuff if you're lucky.
I wonder because
no, I'm not gonna.
There's a couple local companies that would probably do that for me, because I know that they do other stuff like if you want to call them, if you want to have like take care of your aquarium and stuff, they do water changes and all that sort of thing too. But I don't know. I've never asked. I never went that far with it, I guess. So I just interesting how you bring that up, because I never thought of that till just now.
Yeah, but it got to the point now where when we went down to Mexico, we were gone for it was like 16 days. And nothing happened. Everything something did happen. My tanks got real super clear because I wasn't messing with them. I wasn't doing water changes. Everything just.
Well, I was going to say, you had probably top your water off when you came back, right?
Yeah, they were probably a good 5-6 inches of evaporation on them, but everything else was fine.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I think I have some videos that I did about it. Where I was like, we were gone for this many days, came back and showing all the evaporation. But you look in the tanks, the water is like super crystal clear. And the fish are fine. Huh. The fish are fine. They did nibble on some of the plants that I had in there. But again, I have plants in all my aquarium. So if they get real hungry enough, they're going to start eating some of the vegetation in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes sense. That's kind of like, when you're moving fish into like a different fish food, I guess in a relative sort of conversation is if you change their diet to like a different food, how they don't eat it for a few days, but eventually they're going to get hungry enough that they're eventually probably going to eat something else. you know, something will lead to that.
Well, and the other thing is, you see, like I'm a big believer in trying to create an ecosystem in your aquarium. So I'll have snails, I have shrimp in all my aquariums. Obviously, some are going to have more shrimps than others, depending on the fish that's in there.
Yeah.
But even this big 75, where I used to have all the angelfish, when I had them in there, they really did a number on all the shrimp that were in there. But I started out throwing all my coals in different tanks.
Okay.
And the coals started reproducing. As long as you have enough hiding areas for them, rock piles, driftwood, stuff where they'll be able to get away from predators, you can start creating a population. Now, I go away on a trip, the fish are going to get hungry. Well, they're going to munch on some of these and they'll stay alive. and your colony will reduce, but it's self-sustaining. I start feeding the tank on a little bit more regular basis, the numbers will grow again.
Yeah.
And but that's why once I figure that out, that I can create these little ecosystems in all these aquariums, I don't have to worry about it. They're pretty much set them and forget them. The only reason I mess with them is because I want to mess with them. It's not because I have to mess with them.
Just if you wanted like a change of look or something like that, or if you maybe
Well,
just
no, just because I want to have something to do. I'm sitting in
yeah,
the garage. Like, I'll do some water changes. Uh,
just
you
to have
know,
something to do while you're
yeah,
hanging
just
out.
something to keep me busy for a little bit or whatever.
Yeah.
Or I'm listening to somebody's live stream and I'm already in here and it's like, oh well, since I'm here.
Well, it was funny. I was actually watching. I don't remember whose live stream it was, but it was you were on someone else's live stream and you were just you were siliconing a tank. You were just repairing it like a 10-gallon tank.
Yep.
So you're just kind of hanging out and just like, well, I'm not really doing anything, so I might as well just come hang out and repair this tank and do it all.
Yeah. Well, I planaria. I had planaria in a tank until I introduced guppies in there.
What
And
is
that was it.
planaria? I don't know what that is.
It's like it's a little worm. It's like a flat worm that their head looks like an arrow point, and
Okay.
they'll be you'll see them on the surface of your substrate on the glass. Where they become a real nuisance is in your shrimp only tanks, because they don't have any predators to predate on them.
Oh,
But any other fish that can get them in their mouths will eat them.
okay. Let me I'm interested now. If I want to see what these things look like if I Google search them real quick.
They look like little ghosts.
Planaria worms?
Yeah, planaria worms. There's like a little arrowhead, and they have their eyes on the bottom. So when they're up against the glass, you can see like I don't know if there's their eyes, but there's two dots.
Yeah, man, those things are weird looking, man.
Mm-hmm.
Those things are goofy. Huh.
But where they really become a problem is with shrimp tanks, because they'll eat the little shrimplets.
Okay.
But other
if
than
you
that,
want to raise shrimp, that might cause a problem, down the road because of that. So
I know, man. These, yeah. Well, that Joe told me to keep it PG, so I'm not going to say what the other thing that they look like.
oh, maybe we could talk about that backstage. Their stomach. Oh yeah. So I look at the pictures too. So like on the other side, it looks like their stomachs are like in the center, and they look kind of like a skeleton.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that like I said, the only time I had an issue with them was in a shrimp tank. I put some guppies in there. Problem solved.
Thanks,
As a matter
man.
of fact, I had a real bad issue with leeches.
Okay.
That planaria, not so much leeches. And I bought some plants, and they must have come in those plants, and it really was getting bad. And the leeches will eat small fry.
Oh, okay. So
But
that's not good.
I ended up introducing some yo-yo loaches, and they cleaned out all the leeches. I don't have a leech in any of my tanks now.
I tell you what, yo-yo loaches, they're in this tank, and I have a few upstairs. But these have been some of the most interesting fish to watch. And I don't know if you like watching them every now and then and seeing their interactions and what they do. But like you'll look at them one time and I'm just like, man, is that guy dead? And then next thing you know, he's like up and swimming around just like everybody else is. And then there's their movement and their just interactions with everything, the substrate, the other fish,
they're nonstop. They're always rummaging through stuff.
Yeah.
They will eat your shrimplets. So don't put them in a shrimp tank. I mean, you can put them in there. Depending on how well your colony is established, it might dwindle. But they'll eat snails.
Same way with the pest snails. I'll take care of them too, because I've had pest snails in here, and they're actually behind the decoration thing too. But they used to be all over this tank, and now they've like gotten rid of most of them, other than the ones that are on the back. So yeah, I didn't know about that, and someone told me about the just to get loaches, either clown loaches or yo-yo loaches, and they'll take care of it. So that works.
The only problem I've ever had with the yo-yo loaches is that they jump out of the tank, and they jump out of the tank once they get bigger. I noticed that once I got them to about 4 inches in size, because they'll do that running start from the bottom to the top, and they get going so fast, and I don't have lids on my aquariums. Then I would come in here and find them all dried out on the floor. and I think what was happening is because I have my lights on timers, and I don't have a ramp up period. It's just kind of off on.
Okay.
And when they would come on, it would startle them, and they just shoot out of the tank. But it wasn't until they got bigger, until they got more, I guess, power behind them. When they were small, it was not an issue.
Yeah, that's good to know, though. I mean, I got lids on all my tank, but I never knew that about loaches, about yo-yo loaches being able to do that. But I can believe that, though, just from them running up and down, because they are about, I'd say about 3 inches at the moment. So maybe 3.5, something like that. Zen got a duck leech. Have you heard of that?
I had some sort of leech. I don't know what a duck leech. Now I'm curious. I got to look it up.
Yeah, I'm going to look that up too.
But it might be, I don't know what they were called. I just know they were disgusting leeches.
They look like a giant slug.
Oh, yeah?
I'm saying. I mean, not giant, but I mean, they just look like a disgusting slug. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, no, they were, yeah. Oh, yeah, those are big. Those are the ones that'll stick on you, aren't they? The ones I had were white, and they weren't as long, but they were disgusting. They used to gross me out because when they would walk, they stretch out real skinny, and then when they would collapse, it'd be like this little ball.
Oh, and, they're like roly-poly sort of things. Yeah.
Well, but it's like a smaller version of that duck leech.
Okay.
And they're white, and those suckers would actually get a hold of fish, and try to eat them, and so they were a real problem.
Zen was also saying about like clown loaches, which you have to have a big tank because they get big, but they are slow growing though. I think doesn't it take them several years for them to get their full length, anyways. For clown
those
loaches.
Suckers are like 24 inches when they get full grown.
Yeah. Let's see. Benjamin says coolies wiped out all the shrimp in their tank for me. I just wish I saw them more often. I don't know a whole lot about coolie loaches myself, but they're
the fish that just when you think they're dead, or you don't have them anymore, you'll see them. And you hear stories about people breaking down tanks where they had coolie loaches, and they'll leave like this much water in there for a long time, come back, and the suckers will still be in there.
Oh my gosh,
they're really resilient.
They must be really hardy then.
Oh yeah, a lot harder than we imagine.
I wonder how big they get.
Yeah, I don't know they probably about 3 inches.
Yeah, Google says 4, so probably 3 to 4 inches. So yeah. I would assume.
I have one. I had, what was it, like 4 that I put in a 55, but I think I only see one because periodically when I do a big water change, it'll come out and start going to one of the corners and just go up and down, up and down, up and down. Then it'll disappear.
Okay, that's crazy. Let's see. Yeah, I think we're all cut up here. So what other plans do you have for your fish room? Since you're all pretty much filterless now, I mean, you're kind of like pretty much mission complete for the most part.
Like I said, I still need to finish installing this air loop, which is probably the only until I get air conditioning in here. I don't think I'm going to have much use for it other than hatching out brine shrimp.
Yeah.
But even then, I was watching a video where you can put them inside your aquarium in a vessel, and they'll hatch. So you don't even have to run air.
That's crazy.
And so I was like, okay, well, we can try that too. But as far as plans for a while, I was really a couple of months back really trying to get into selling fish and getting my my stuff to be able to buy from a wholesaler.
Okay.
But I think I'm going to put that on hold for a little bit. It's kind of a weird market where I'm at, and I'm not too comfortable shipping fish yet.
I'm not either, and let alone I don't have a whole lot of history myself with like bringing or bagging fish and then sending them out anywhere. So I actually don't have much. this sounds kind of dumb, but I don't have much history at all with bagging a lot of fish myself and giving them to people. I've had very little experience. So,
Well, I've given a lot of fish away, and I feel comfortable doing that. That's not a problem. I feel comfortable taking them up to the swaps and selling them there at the fish club and stuff like that. That's okay. Problem for me though is I don't get up to the fish swaps maybe 2 or 3 times out of the year. Just because it's so far. I got to drive 3.5 hours to get to it.
And you've had your fish survive like the whole trip there then?
Yeah.
And okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm not worried about that. The problem for me is temperature. And I have a real small window where I can ship fish out of Arizona to the rest of the states.
Yeah.
Before it gets too cold in the other states too. Like right now is prime shipping time for me because even though we might get to about 90 some degrees, it's not too bad. And also I have to if I'm going to ship during this time of the year, be in the post office Monday morning so that they ship out that same day.
Yeah.
Because what I found out is they'll send them from here to the main distribution center, which is in Phoenix. So if I don't do it in the morning, they don't make it to Phoenix that same day and ship out. Yeah. They'll sit in a truck the entire rest of the afternoon if I send them out later. And that's where I have issues with my fish.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That or I have to invest in cold packs, and then
by then the shipping is almost outrageous.
And especially for the fish that I have, it's. I mean, you can go to any pet store and buy guppies and buy platies and mollies and swordtails relatively inexpensive. So it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's almost not worth it, and then you feel bad for having to. For you to buy the fish, you got to spend the money to ship it. It's just like, and you got to charge them. It's just like, well,
people are going to pay more in shipping than the value of the fish, and I wouldn't do it.
Right, I wouldn't do that. I'd rather pay like say for example, like a $30 to $50 shipping cost. Let's say it's shipping to wherever. I mean, you got to think if you're only spending, $5 per fish, how much are you willing to spend? If you're only shipping 3-4 fish as opposed to like, well, I want to buy like 100 fish. Well, like, yeah, that's more worth it.
Yeah. So the idea was to try to sell here locally and stuff like that, but I don't know. It's I've kind of put out notifications trying to get information as to what they would be interested in buying.
Yeah.
And they always come back with some crazy stuff. They want, like red tail catfish or these monster fish, which makes no sense as a business for me to be able to sell that because you'll have 1 or 2 customers that'll buy them and that's it.
And it won't happen too often.
I've kind of put out there that I would, like the smaller nano fish, but no, there isn't that big of a demand as I thought there might be. So I'm just I'm going to wait. I'd rather just buy. I wanted really to buy wholesale because it allowed me to get fish inexpensive. Yeah. And the idea was always to buy wholesale fish, get as many as I wanted, get a few extra that I could turn around and flip.
Yep.
And but I don't know if it's worth it to go to all that trouble of
that's kind of my thought. That's kind of my thought process too.
If I could do it on the down low, like I know some people do, where they're able to buy without having a wholesaler license, then it would make sense. But I don't know, that stuff sooner or later will come around and bite you in the butt.
Yeah. The only thing I was thinking about that I could probably make it work out, I have to look into it more, is we have that annual Ohio Cichlid Association that they do. And they do, you can bring your fish in, and kind of do like a fish swap sort of thing too. So I know those things are kind of nice to have around, your local areas.
Well, I think if we had a fish club here locally, that would be something I would do because then you have the swap where you can, although the problem with swaps, it's crazy because there's no rhyme or reason to the pricing on the fish.
Yeah.
Because one weekend you can go up there and take the most common angelfish
Yeah.
get pretty decent money for it. And there's other times where you can go and take like a rare strain of angelfish and only get like
Mhm.
$2 or $3 on them. And it's like, it's just crazy.
I
It's
don't
just,
know from experience because I've only been to that Ohio Cichlid Association once. So I'm assuming you've just known from experience of going to these things that that's what's happened.
yeah, or you have to be well established because sometimes they'll just sell on reputation. People
Yeah.
that are know, oh yeah, this guy always sells good fish. And
Okay.
then they'll it could be just platies, but because of the reputation they have, they can fetch a little bit more than they normally would.
Okay. That makes sense.
Like for example, this last time we had Dean come down as a guest speaker, and I think he brought some fish that he sold there,
mhm.
and those went, they went for pretty good money, but it's because
Yeah.
you're buying the name.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense. Brandon was saying that have you ever had your problem with the shippers themselves or something get lost in the shipping? Is that something that always kind of concerned you as well for holding back a little bit?
Not so much because I don't ship a lot. That hasn't really been an issue. I might have. I can probably say I've probably shipped less than 10 times.
Okay.
And the only bad experience was this last time that I sent some stuff up to June, only Oscars,
Yeah.
and I sent her some angelfish and they all died. That's the other thing though. When you ship, it's always best to ship when they're smaller.
Okay.
You have a better luck of having success
Huh.
than if you
I didn't
start.
know that. So why would that be?
It's just they're smaller. You don't need a. It's I don't know. It's just I've had more success shipping that stage in between being fry and juveniles when they're about that size, that they do a little bit better.
So that's kind of like where all mine are. They're kind of about like a couple inches big right now, give or take. So you think that size would be decent, to ship?
And I think it also depends on the species of the fish. So,
Okay.
some fish are just hardier.
Yep. Able to take more, as far as movement, and temperature changes and that sort of thing.
Yeah, but this last time with like the angelfish, that's where I learned. I shipped them out on a Monday, but I was getting off of work, so I didn't hit the post office till like 3 o'clock, and that's what happened. They ended up sitting at the
Okay.
warehouse. They shipped them out, but who knows what time they got to Phoenix, and who
Yeah.
knows how long they sat out there in a truck because
Yeah.
they go in containers, not containers, but trailers. And
Yeah.
they don't offload them all. I mean, and it's not like
Nope.
they're putting them indoors. They might offload it off of that to whatever is driving them wherever they're going,
Right. Yeah.
but it's still sitting out there in the hot temperature.
Yep. And I'm assuming, if you start bringing like cold packs in and stuff for that, it's going to cost even more for shipping because of the weight and all that. So
Yeah, right now everything that I ship is in those express flat rate boxes that the postal service provides.
Yeah.
So there's only so much you can put in there, and that's I know you can use like third party shippers and stuff like that, but I'm not doing the volume where it makes sense for me yet.
Right. That makes sense.
So
How far was the trip from where you're at to where June's at?
to Merced, I don't know. It's halfway up of California, basically. So,
Oh,
but
wow.
the problem is that it backtracked because I'm on the far west state line, so they had to go back to the center of Arizona, and then from there, I'm assuming they drove them. I don't think they flew them.
Okay.
They trucked them from there, but it's all hot temperatures because they go from Phoenix all through the desert down here.
Yeah.
So they basically go to Phoenix and come right back.
Oh, wow.
And drive up from here on Interstate 10 to wherever it is they're going. And it's, the temperatures get pretty hot. Even if it's 90 degrees outside, inside that container enclosed area, it's going to raise another 10 degrees.
Yep. And you had them with cold packs and stuff and all that, or did you just in an insulated container?
Yeah, just an insulated container, but it was a bad experience this time. So
yeah.
But I found when I've shipped this time of the year, especially for the southern part of the states, it's not a problem. Like I can ship from right now from here to Florida, not even bat an eye. They're going to be fine.
That's cool. I don't know. I guess the only thing to do for me is to try it and see what happens. If it comes down to it. I mean,
How cold are you guys getting over there in Ohio right now?
we're pretty comfortable temperatures at the moment. Right now in the fall season, I mean, we have all 4 seasons and they're all pretty regular. But as of right now, we stay anywhere in the evenings around maybe 50 degrees, give or take, maybe in the 40s, some nights. And then we're up in like the 60s and 70s at the moment during the daytime, Fahrenheit.
Yeah, see, like right now, I could get away with shipping to you, and no problem, not have to worry about it. The fish will get there; they'll be fine.
Yeah, just because it's a sort of similar temperature at the moment, not too much drastic temperature changes then. All right. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share with everybody else? Or I think we got a good conversation tonight. I think it's gone pretty well.
Yeah, we never really got around to my background, but that's okay.
It's all right.
No, there's nothing to it. I can do it real quick. I mean, I kept fish when I was a teenager up until I basically right before taking off for the service. Then I got rid of my aquariums. And then I didn't get fish again until now. I think it's been about 10 years ago now. It was around the late 2000s. I don't know if it was like between 2008 2010, roughly around there is when I started keeping aquariums again. But by that time, most of the kids were gone. I think only our daughter was staying with us.
Okay.
And things had really slowed down. Expenses have kind of diminished because having teenagers at home, they'll eat you out of the house.
Yep.
And and especially the boys. And once it was just kind of like my wife and my daughter and I, that's when I started. And actually, it wasn't until Sharon actually moved out that I actually got my first aquarium. It was a 20-gallon, and then that just kind of snowballed into what it is today. So, but I took a long hiatus, and the hobby really evolved from when I was keeping fish to when I came back. And what really brought me back was Planet Aquariums, because I know the late 80s, early 90s, even though there was plants out there, well, for one thing, most of what you learned was through magazines or books. There wasn't this. I mean, it was the early infancy stages of the internet, but it was forums. You were still having to read. You weren't watching videos. You weren't watching, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And even trying to watch pictures. You try to upload a picture back in the early 90s on the computer.
Oh my gosh. And it was kind of like
2 or 3 hours
ever to load, and you're like, oh my gosh, I just want to look at one.
In the morning and come back in the afternoon, and
and you're like, hey, there it is. That's what I'm supposed to do. Yeah, I remember back in the day with the old dial-up.
So I started, like I said, I've been watching YouTube for a long time, almost since its inception. Watching, all these other videos and watched how it's changed and all that.
Oh yeah,
and then
changed the hobby completely. I mean, all the stuff that you have readily access to. I mean, it's a whole different world now.
Well, for somebody that is lazy like me, that doesn't do a whole lot of reading, being able to watch a video over having to read a book, it's always made it easier.
Yeah.
But like I said, I want to say the very first videos that I've started watching were probably Aquarium Co-op. And that was also kind of like where planet tanks were starting to become a little bit more popular and stuff like that. And that's what intrigued me and brought me back into the hobby. And that's why all my tanks, I don't think I have I'm trying to look. Well, there's 2 tanks, and they're really for breeding, for egg scatters. I don't have plants in them. Well, that's not true, because I have a plant in a pot. And the idea is that I can remove the plant out of the aquarium and be able to get the fry out of there. But yeah, it's just, that's kind of what got me back hooked into this. And then just being able to learn about some other fish that I didn't even know existed.
Yeah. And, I mean, that's kind of like what I did too. I mean, as far as finding out what fish act like, I didn't know like for African cichlids. I didn't know that fish were this colorful and this vibrant without being saltwater, and I didn't realize that. And that's what kind of drugged me into the African cichlid hobby. So,
yeah, and I think that's when I was starting to come back too. Is when right at the peak of African cichlids, because I didn't even know those existed.
Yeah, me neither. I
didn't
just
know
thought
those
there was just
existed,
community fish, like your guppies, tetras, angelfish, and anything your common stuff you see at your local fish stores.
Yeah, most of the stuff when I was younger, it was either Central or South American cichlids.
Yep.
And community fish,
Yep,
and
that was all I
guppies.
had.
Guppies were not like the guppies you have nowadays. All those color variations and different kind of tail. It was just like your regular fancy guppies that were basically feeder guppies. There was.
Yep.
I don't think there was any like mosaics or any of these dumble ear. None of that. I don't remember seeing any of those fish when I was younger. They were basically silver with a little bit of color on the tail.
Do you know Lake to Land Aquatics?
Yes, Latoya.
Okay. Yeah, he gave me a $1 sticker, so I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of like one of those things. Like one of the things that really drugged me to the African cichlid hobby is just because of the fact that one, the obvious reason I just stated, but two, I didn't even know how they bred. And once I realized how they did, it just blew my mind. And I wanted to get more into it. And I wanted to keep going further with it because I was so curious about how to do it myself. And it just went from there. So that it really amazed me. So that's why I keep doing it.
I'm fighting the fan that I got hitting me in the face. It keeps putting out my cigar.
But if the cigar smells good, it might be sort of beneficial, right?
Well, I don't know too many people that like to smell burning tobacco. So unless it's one of those flavored cigars, it smells like an ashtray.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see myself ever leaving this hobby, even if it were come to the point to where I did downsize. I would obviously still keep all this stuff back here. And I would probably still keep this hobby until I'm off this earth. There would just be some changes.
Well, right now, like I said, I guess I really haven't pinpointed exactly what it is that I'm trying to do with the fish room. It's gone through a whole bunch of iterations. Right now, I'm in my, I guess, breeding phase where I'm trying to learn how to breed.
Yep.
How to reproduce different fish. I'm starting to get a little bit more into the egg scatters. I've got a couple of tanks that I've got set up for that. I'm going to try the white clouds because they say those are relatively easy to do. I've got a little contraption where it's like the strainer that I showed you, but it's got all this mesh bottom where it'll allow the eggs to fall onto the bottom of the aquarium. Then I can just pull them out. And then wait for the the eggs to hatch. So I'm going to start playing around with those. But what I really like are like the guys that set up like MD fish tanks, where he's got all these display tanks. But I don't have the room to do that. So my biggest problem is that I have all these tanks, and I have like all these 10 gallons, right? And they're supposed to be for breeding.
Yeah.
Well, you look at you look at half of these things, and I can't help myself but to try to start scaping them. And then that kind of defeats the purpose of trying to breed stuff, because then it makes it real hard to pull.
Yeah, because then there's no room to do anything in, and you're just like, well, I want to make this into something new. It looks boring. I got to spice it up a bit. Hey, Vibes.
Yeah, that's one of the real reasons why I don't have any bare bottoms, because immediately I'll set it up, and then you know what, I want to put some plants in there. Now I think I started putting plants in little pots, like the little clay pots, or even the plastic pots where you buy, like the plants that are out there in the back. and I'll put some aquarium substrate in there, and so that's what I'm doing supposedly with my breeder tanks, so that I can remove all that stuff out of there and be able to scoop whatever it is that's in there that I need to get out.
I think I only have two my tanks that Don't have any substrate in them, and one's just my fry tank because I just dump my egg tumbler right into the tank, and then another one it's just bottomless because I just never put anything in it. I don't really have a rhyme or reason. It's just it has more fry in it, that's just growing out. So, I was going to tell you my first channel that I started watching actually wasn't like on the higher end of the spectrum, but it was actually Ben Ochart was my first channel I followed.
That's a big channel.
Yeah.
That's a big channel. Anybody that's got over 50,000 subscribers, I consider a big channel.
Yeah. And I mean, he has a lot of good knowledge that I was able to fall back on and to relate to my hobby and help me get everything started. And then I started learning more with KG Tropicals and some of their earlier videos from like 10 years ago or something like that, or 5 years ago. And then that kind of went from there. So those are my first couple channels I went through. And then
I guess to give people an idea of when I really started watching content again, like on a regular watching fish content on a regular basis, was when I guess on Thursday nights you used to have aquarium co-op. Yeah. And then after aquarium co-op, you would go to KG Tropicals. And then after them would be then it would be Ed and James, Fish Room Fever.
Okay.
And that was kind of like the cycle for Thursday nights that you would watch videos.
Yep.
And
did you watch Primetime Aquatics too, or no?
I've never really been. I enjoy watching their videos more than I do their live streams.
Yeah, I get more information from their videos, I guess. Or earlier videos, like their fish, their fish profiles, I guess I should say.
Well, for me, what happens is I like the interaction. Mm-hmm. And when you start going to these channels are a lot bigger in the live chat, there's a lot less. Well, not necessarily true, but it's not like some of the other channels. I find myself watching some of the up and coming channels more.
Yeah.
Because one, I tend to know just about almost everybody in the chat.
Uh-huh.
So it's kind of like hanging out with friends.
Yeah.
And
like we talked about earlier.
Yeah. It's kind of like hanging out with friends and you start carrying on even some sidebar conversations sometimes, half the times in the chat. And then you can joke around more with the host because you tend to know them a little bit better. And you go to like a live stream for the King of DIY, you might be lucky if you recognize maybe 10 out of those names that are there. You go to a KG Tropicals, there's a little bit more, but it's a little bit different. Unless you're a paying member, you kind of get restricted as to how much how often you can post. So I tend to not really watch those. I'd rather come on and watch you or watch Kyle or watch Happy Place or Tommy or anybody else.
I agree with Jesse Salient. I mean, like that's kind of how I view it as, like you said, with the bigger channels, you kind of have to, pay to see your comment seen, or you have to be like a paid member, all the time. So with these smaller channels, like you said, it's nice to be able to get to know some of these people. And then if you can joke around with them a little bit, and it's a lot more fun and entertaining, which makes it a lot better experience.
Here's the other thing too that happens. Even my channel, because I'm nowhere near any of these bigger channels, but you can get a little bit more loose and not have any serious repercussions. Whereas you go to, like, for example, KG Tropical, where this has become their sole source of income.
Yeah.
So that's for one, they have to be real careful as to what they say. They can't be too controversial.
Yeah.
They're getting sponsored. They're trying to create a clientele, which is all fine and dandy. It's not a knock on that, but it's just a different type of live stream.
Yeah.
Whereas on a live stream like this,
on
a live stream like this, we can pretty much not have to worry about,
a whole lot without getting too offensive per se, or too out of line, I guess, for lots of better terms. But I get what you mean.
So that's why I tend to like I said, it's more of a being able to participate.
Yeah.
And I really like that. And plus, I get to meet more people. I get to meet people that are not necessarily coming into the hobby, but coming into the content creation side of things, and watch them grow. That's one of the things that I really enjoy is watching like your channel and all these other ones like Kyle's, just watching you guys take off and growing and I don't know. To me, that's I really enjoy it. That's the reason why when I was doing my live streams, I would always try to bring the newer channels that I would find and trying to introduce them.
I remember that. That's how you found my channel, is you were kind of looking for these smaller channels and say, hey, well, let's get to know this person a little bit, just like you did with me. And it just kind of took off from there, So here we are again.
Yeah, I really enjoy that. I got to meet you, I have some conversations with you on other live streams, and
now we're sending via or Instagram messages. We won't talk about any of that stuff on here, but like we all know what that is.
Yeah, that's why you said, hey, keep it PG, because I know how much of a potty mouth you are.
Yeah, we'll keep that on Instagram.
Yeah, but to me this is what's been the most entertaining. This is kind of what I signed up for, is to be able to hang out with people, to be able to have conversations, to be able to learn from each other, and to watch everybody grow. I love that.
I think that's a huge benefit. You can learn from these bigger channels, especially when they were first starting out too. They can kind of learn from their mistakes and also learn from our mistakes. But at the same time, it's just as beneficial to learn from everybody else in these smaller channels. So I completely agree with that.
But yeah, no, I just, I really appreciate you inviting me to come on, and I'm really looking forward to your other guests that you're going to be having on. I think that's going to be real fun.
It's going to be a good weekend. I've had Eddie, he was on, that was a good time. Branton was on, so that was, I never seen him in person. That was the first time I seen him in person, and I never even knew much about him until that live stream. So that was kind of neat to talk to him for a little bit and hang out, and we really enjoyed our live stream there. And it was good to talk to Eddie for a little bit, and got a whole few more people to go to. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. To Brandon's question of the people that I think the only one that I haven't seen after I've interviewed him is probably the Evolving Tank. He's kind of gone completely dark. But he was getting to the point where his tank was pretty much done.
I didn't see June sneak in.
Yeah, she's been in here for a little bit.
Okay.
I think. Well, you know what? I'm not gonna say that. I'm just so used to always seeing June that I assumed that she was here.
She sneaks in every now and then, and
she's everywhere I go, or I go, or more, to be exact. She's everywhere wherever I go, I see her.
Yep. Always seems to be the case, especially when you start going to all these, channels that you're normally going to, and you're like, hey, we'll see you on the next one, and then you'll follow the next one.
That's true, Bill. But I think Bill's been real busy with his business, because he was trying to establish a business, but he hasn't been doing too many videos. But there's still a bunch of people, even here in the chat, that I would love to be able to sit and have a conversation with.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's people in the chat that at some point. I guess right now, in a nutshell, the reason why I've been trying to do more guest live streams is I want to get to know some of these people that I really haven't gotten to know yet, that are commenting on my videos and my shorts and stuff that I've never seen before, and it's nice to be able to have a conversation with them and get to know them a little bit better.
The one person that really needs to quit being, somebody needs to have her on a live stream is Mandy.
Oh, okay.
I know she made a promise to James that if she ever did a live stream, that would be her very first live stream. But Mandy, quit holding out on us. We all want to get to know you.
Eddie and the whole barbecue situation. That's an ongoing joke.
No, I only poke fun at Eddie because he's such a great guy.
Oh, he's a fantastic guy.
He's exactly what you see is what you get.
Yep.
And he's so welcoming. I mean,
Yep.
he really goes out of his way to make you feel comfortable.
I felt the same way when I first met Brandon for the first time on live. It's the same way. Just just talking with fish with him and stuff. It's just the same thing. Like, I was just very welcoming, and it was very nice to be able to talk to someone and feel comfortable. It's I like that. It's the good vibes. As I like to say. Hey, Curtis. Curtis and I. That's ours is on Sunday, I believe.
Oh, okay. Now I got a bone to pick with Curtis.
Uh-oh. So Zen says, I promise is long gone, but I said I have to be several margaritas in. So likely will happen at one
Mandy,
event.
I mean, I'll tell you what, whoever gets her on, that'll probably be one of the most viewed live streams, guaranteed. Because I don't think there's a single person here that wouldn't watch that live stream.
No.
So
I think if that ever happened, then we'd all have to notify each other to just be on at least for the time being, because it's to be a rare occasion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll send you margaritas. Don't worry about that. As a matter of fact, you can do your live stream from your favorite restaurant or bar.
Yep.
And we'll pick up the tab.
Yeah, don't worry about it. We'll be good. As long as we can get you on a live stream, then we'll pay for everything. You're not helping.
I think it's only fitting that she goes on to Eddie's live stream, though, because they're both from Texas.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that's where she was from, but yeah, that is fitting.
Or you can come on my live stream and we can talk about talk about the Texans. She's a big Texan fan.
Okay, that's football, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't watch football, so that's one sport I do not watch, unfortunately.
Well, we're gonna have to pull your citizenship.
That bad, huh? Football's a huge thing.
That's un-American. What do you mean you don't watch football?
I know. It's just like, if I would tell you, if I didn't watch baseball, because my brother doesn't watch baseball, but I can't say that because I do watch baseball. But I mean, you wouldn't believe, whenever we talk at shift change at my job, whenever it's during football season, we'd probably talk maybe 5 minutes about work, and then the next 15 minutes is all about football, because that's all they talk about. It's insane how excited people get about football, and it just blows my mind.
Yeah. One of these years. No, what do you mean one of these years? It can't be years. It's more like days. One of these days.
Ben says, you don't have to be on screen. We just want to feel like we know you.
Oh, no. Don't give her an out. She's got to be on screen. What is
it? Yeah, I think that has to be a requirement for sure. Cheryl does the water changes during the Chief games. It's not too shabby. Well, what do you think, Jorge? Do you think we had a good night? Do we have more to talk about? Because I think we had a pretty good night so far.
So much for the 1 hour.
Yeah. So much for that. It's now on 2 hours at the moment. So.
Yeah. No, the problem is, Benjamin, Mandy's been taking small steps for 10 years now. It's about time that she picks up the pace.
10 years. That's a lot of time for being just on the comment side.
That's probably longer than that. Although she did admit that she's been on a live stream before, but it was way back.
Eddie's he was trying to convince me to go to Aquashella, which is still kind of up in the air, but I don't have much time left to think about it because it's already next weekend.
Yeah, well, for you, the one that would make the most sense would probably be Chicago.
Chicago, yeah.
It's closer to you, isn't it?
It's a 6-hour drive, yes.
Oh,
So, and I just missed that one, I think, right?
Man, I drive all the way to Houston. So
Yeah, I think if that would, I could make it work because my dad, he's long story short, he has a boat in Jupiter, Florida. So if I were to go to Aquashella, I was trying to make it work out to where I could fly to, because there's a straight flight that I can go from Pittsburgh to Jupiter. And then the Aquashella that's in a week from now is like 3.5 hours drive from Jupiter to Aquashella. But and I could stay on my dad's boat, but we were trying to figure that all out, a few days ago. But that would be my best benefit, I guess I could say, is going to Jupiter and then driving up and then coming back down and then flying from Jupiter back to Ohio. But you also have to fly.
yeah, how far are you from Pennsylvania?
What part?
Philadelphia.
Oh, that's another 6 hours, I believe. I think that's on the eastern side.
You've got 2 big events you could drive to.
Let's see. Philadelphia is 6 hours and 19 minutes.
Yeah, because it actually would be less because you would be going to Morgantown for the Clash.
So I might as well just wait on those. But he says, of course you're coming. Sketty Jupiter is right by where my daughter lives. Yeah, that's where my dad has a boat there. So that's interesting. It's a nice area. I think so. From my experience, it's nice. We go to the beach there, and it's got nice restaurants and everything. So I've had no bad experiences there.
I think Sarah's daughter is the one that's a scuba diver.
Oh, okay.
She works at I want to say an aquarium where she'll go into the exhibits and does maintenance on them and stuff like that. She's a professional scuba diver.
That's got to be cool to do, though. I think that would be kind of like a dream job, if you live in a good area to do that in, clear waters and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, but if I'm not mistaken, she also dives in the damn alligator alligator pits or something. Yep.
Benjamin, there is some good events. I mentioned earlier about I'm probably going to try to go to the Ohio Cichlid Association. So that's kind of an event I'm going to go to. And Curtis says come to San Antonio in June. That's not a bad idea.
See, they just messed that up for me because when it was in May, it lined up perfect because we usually go in May to San Antonio.
Yeah.
Because my wife, that's where she wants to go for her birthday all the time for the grandkids. But now they moved it to June. So I don't know how that's going to work out. And I think if my son gets his new duty station, he's going to Germany.
Oh, wow.
He'll probably be leaving at the end of May.
Okay. Never been to Germany. That'd be kind of an interesting trip. Have you ever been there?
No, but I know if he goes to Germany, we're definitely the following May. That's where we're going.
Absolutely. Why not? We've got still got a good amount of people in here.
Well, it's your live stream.
I hate to end it, with this many people. I think this is the most I've had in a while. Not that other ones, I think they were close to 20 as well, of course. But seems like people are enjoying our discussions and conversations, so that's good.
Either that or there's nothing else to do.
That could be too.
On a Friday night.
Everybody's also just bored. We all maybe should all hit the like button really quick. Is it bad to like your own stream, Jorge?
No. If you don't like your own stream, how do you expect other people to like it?
My mom's going to bed. See you later, Mom. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for joining us and hear us
Eddie,
talk nonsense.
Yeah. Eddie, just you want to join in? Is that what you're asking?
Oh, he's asking if you want him to go live, I guess, on his channel. You could do that, Eddie.
Either or. Thanks, SC. Yeah, thanks, Mom. She said you were a great guest.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
You have to like
I was
yourself
going to
before everyone
say,
else. I mean,
man,
that's very true.
I
You have
like
to love
all my
yourself.
videos.
Yeah, you have
I'm
to
the
love
first one to
yourself.
like it.
Yep. If you don't love yourself, then how can you like everybody else? I mean, that's just common sense, I guess, in my opinion. Steven's been lurking. Hey, I haven't seen Mark in a while.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's up to you. If you want to call it, we'll call it. If you want to go, we'll go. I mean,
Well, let's bring Eddie in real quick and see what he has to say for a little bit, and then we'll call it a night. How about that?
sounds good.
Okay.
The only problem is if you drop that link, everybody's going to start coming up here.
Oh man, that is true. And then we'll get Branton in here, and we'll get whoever
That's
else.
fine. We'll turn it into a hangout. The
Let me
spotlight is
see.
done. Now it becomes a hangout. Unless
me
you got
figure out-
something to do tomorrow.
This is true. I don't have any plans until tomorrow's live stream.
Well, there you go. Your wife is probably going, hey, you do have stuff to do.
Well, I mean, if we're keeping it PG, we might have stuff to do, but yeah. Well, I don't know. She might have a movie picked out. I'll have to see. I have to text her and see.
Well, you
what
better
she's
find
up
out before you get drug into another hour.
to. Let me text her real quick. Did I do that right, by the way? Did I put that
Yeah.
link in there for Eddie to join in? Okay.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. Live stream longer than expected. ... To my wife. Who's McStreamy was canceled for tonight, so I wouldn't be mad at entertainment. I don't know who that is. Says Zen.
Who's what? Sorry.
I was Mandy was asking. McStreamy was canceled for tonight. I don't know who that is. We're going. MC wants a 4-hour stream.
That's Stephen P's live stream.
Oh, okay. Okay. Uh-oh. Vibe's not coming in since we got to keep it PG.
Yeah. I've never ever heard Eddie say a bad word.
No, me either. Okay, yeah. Stephen P. Gotcha. So he's saying thanks for the party. Hey, you're welcome.
Wait, how come Steven didn't go? How come he didn't go tonight, Steven? Because he's hanging out here with us.
Yeah, true. For a long while. Sunday stream.
Oh man, sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think thanks for hanging out with us, MC, by the way. Appreciate it.
Oh, he's just tired. Yeah. See, that's what we were talking about earlier when you get committed to every week.
Yeah. If I might go get a water, or I might have my wife deliver it, either or. I just text her to see what she sends me, unless she's already in bed. If she's already in bed, then.
Well, you can go up there and you just get canceled when you get back. You'll be wondering what happened to your channel, but
yeah, it's true. Eddie, you coming in or what, buddy? Don't get nervous on us. We're gonna have to end the live stream because of you not coming in. We're putting the pressure on you.
Yeah, if there's one thing that I know for a fact is Eddie doesn't get nervous.
No, not at all. I mean, maybe Chris could come in if he's still in here and he could pregame before Sunday. I know them two stream together a lot. Uh-oh.
Me nervous? Yeah, Eddie has that ability that he'll walk up to anybody. I mean, anybody, and just strike up. He's got that Texan thing down to down to.
I always forget that he's in Texas too, huh?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
He's the epitome of Texas hospitality.
Apparently, Curtis does bad things while alive.
Oh no!
Is Curtis still in here? Is he coming in?
You can leave, just don't leave me control of bringing people up, because then,
because then it might turn into a nightmare.
well, yeah, no, we'll get somebody doing the helicopter up here.
Yeah, anyone else who wants to join in? Curtis was coming in for a little bit. So that means Vibes has to come in, right?
Yeah. Well, Vibes has to come in regardless.
Yeah, I believe so. That's
we can't end it until Vibes comes up here. Oh, there you go. Brandon says he'll come up.
Brandon? All right, give him 2 minutes. So we'll hurry up and wait. So much for the 1 hour again.
Yeah, you're at 2:05 now, buddy. It's a Friday night. You can't expect it to go only an hour.
Yeah, I kind of throw it up as an hour, and then like you said, if you cut it, right in the middle of where it just started to get good, what's the point? It'd be like watching a movie and you're waiting for the ending, and you're like, wait a minute, you're just going to stop watching? You can't do that.
Yeah. So you got any projects going on?
As far as a fish room goes, not many fish deaths. I guess that's progress. Hardly at all, actually. I've had really good luck with this tank, and no fish deaths in the Mbuna tank behind me, and everything's been growing still. So it's to the point to where, like I was talking earlier about making a decision about if I should continue to do the fry operation or should I go a different route and just keep my one tank where like I was discussing earlier about having my one tank that I didn't buy a single fish from. So it doesn't have to be immediate, but everything's staying alive and working well ever since I got rid of all my heaters and just keep the room naturally, temp at whatever it needs to. I've had no issues. So I think to me, that's progress. There we go. What's going on?
Hey.
Uh-oh, he's live. Whoops.
Yes.
He's nervous now.
Yeah.
What are you looking over your shoulder for?
Well, you got a problem with that?
No, I'm just saying, you got somebody else in there or what?
That would be nice, wouldn't it? Right, there we go. Much better. Hey, y'all.
So what's good on a Friday night, Eddie?
What's good on a Friday night? Maintenance on your aquariums.
What do you got to do?
Water changes. Clean the glass. That's why it took me a little bit longer. I went and covered that tank up before I joined y'all.
Okay.
I was going to say, didn't you have a tank back there?
Allergy.
Isn't that where the frontosas were at?
Yeah.
No.
That one there is Frontosa's there.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what do you have back in there? You got
those peacocks.
Oh.
Okay.
And nothing fancy. Just the plain old peacock cichlids that I'm trying to get rid of.
Not a fan of peacocks?
Nope.
No.
Peacocks, for me, they're too much going on. I want to come home to my fish room, sit back, and chill. Kind of like my Frontosas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a learning curve. I've had my experience of raising and owning peacocks with Haps, obviously. So it's a learning curve.
Yeah. And they're always on the edge of killing each other.
Yeah. I've learned through trial and error. I've gone through peacocks to where between death and also giving them away to local fish stores, but I've also learned on how to mitigate that as well. The only thing that's worked is just high stock for me personally.
Yeah. I've had luck with just like 2 or 3 in a tank by themselves, in a big tank, no issues. But the best I've had yet is with the Frontosas. Those things are so chill. It's so ridiculous.
Well, they don't even move. Don't they just kind of hover there in place?
Unless you go up, for my Frontosas, they chill just like you said. But if you go up to the tank quick, they might kind of scatter a little bit.
Oh,
but
yeah.
other than that, they just chill.
Until you feed them. then it's like a nightmare. Uh-oh.
Hi,
gotta
Brandon.
go, y'all.
What's
See y'all.
up?
Thought I'd get you situated first before I add you to the stage. Uh-oh.
Yeah, you're good.
Eddie's gone. He saw you and he's like, no, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hey, Martin.
What's going on?
Not
Welcome to
much.
Friday night hangout, I guess.
Yeah.
He went to go get his tub of cottage cheese.
That wouldn't be a bad thing, you know that? I got a brand new one. I got
Uh-oh.
to open it now.
All right, so we're doing a
There we go.
Here.
Hey!
There goes the
Oh.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
My brother.
It was gone a few minutes ago.
It was gone since I came up here.
I need a drink.
Or we might move the PG to PG-13 if Curtis comes in.
No.
Earlier than that.
That's if you can get more than 3 words out of Curtis.
Yeah.
That's why I want to see the live. I want to see the live stream you have with him because that'll probably be the most I'll ever hear Curtis talk.
Gonna say how many people can we have up here? 6?
I'm not sure. I kind of
Are
like
you-
a semi-paid subscription, so I think it's a lot.
Oh, you
Yeah.
can have 10 if
Yeah.
you're paying for the services 10, unless you
Yeah.
have the executive one. Then it's like 20.
Yeah, I don't need that many on here.
No. What are you drinking?
No, there's that koozie that Eddie's trying to convince me to go to Aquashella that I'll get.
Yeah. I got one saved for you. It's gonna be a late night, y'all.
Yeah, it might. Especially now that we got all of us on here. It's going to be like Hollywood Squares.
I'll be right
Yeah.
back.
Okay.
It'll be like tomorrow night. It'll be 2 a.m. Me and Vibe will still be on.
I know, right? Actually, since you mentioned it, Skull, tomorrow night I'm thinking I'm gonna push it for an Aquashella thing. So I'm gonna invite everybody that's going to Aquashella to join us. So it might be a party.
That's fine.
What day are you leaving, Eddie?
You mean to Aquashella?
Yeah, what's the day you're actually leaving to head out there?
Friday.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm flying over there, so I got a direct flight. So
Yep, I remember you saying it was direct flight. I don't like to be in an airplane any longer than one flight, personally.
exactly. Anymore, if I had to fly somewhere, it has to be nonstop.
Yep.
No, it's more exciting when you only got 10 minutes to get to the other end of the airport. Oh yeah.
I've done that. So I went to Alaska one time in my life, and I had 3 flights, or 2 flights there and 3 flights back. And the one flight, I got to Detroit, Michigan, and I had 30 minutes to go. And I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with that airport, but I believe it's like a U shape, and I had to go from like this drop off to like this drop off on the other side. We had to go like all the way down to that spot, and I had 30 minutes to get to it from the time the flight landed, and that one was leaving within 30 minutes. So I was booking it. I was the last one on that plane before they closed the door.
Nice.
Yeah, when I went to California, there was a little layover. We had to go there and then to California out of Milwaukee or Madison, whichever one has the airport, I forget.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always thought that was weird that it was just a big, so like literally to get from one end to the other, there was no like, just go this way. You had to go one way.
That didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, this is stupid. Why is this airport set up that way? And it was like my first time there, so I didn't understand about any of that at all. And I didn't understand how to get on to like the subways where they went to, or like wherever the trains, or if they're, I don't know if that one had the trains or not now that I think of it.
I don't know. Didn't that one have like the big kind of like like the flat moving floor that you could stand on, but you could go faster if you walked?
Oh, I was running down those things.
Yeah.
I was getting everyone out of my way. So
Yeah.
Eddie, you're too kind.
What are you talking about?
You're too kind.
Yeah, I flew back from Philadelphia one time and did not think of the time zones.
Oh
Because
yeah.
my company makes my reservations. They just send me an itinerary and I go to the airport.
Okay.
So So I landed in Dallas with the same situation.
Yep.
We're to the other end of the airport, and I had like 20 or 25 minutes, and I was coming around the corner, and the lady was shutting the door.
Yeah.
She's
That's
like,
kind of like,
whatever, and it's like, that's me.
Yep. That's exactly what happened to me too. I think they were driving the plane before I even got to my seat.
Nice.
I got back and told my boss I ran through the airport, and he's like, "Hell with that! You got a company credit card. I went and got a rental car and a room and a steak." It's like, yeah, now you tell me.
Oh yeah,
Hey,
see.
Hey, Mike.
Hey guys,
How's it going for you, man?
well, it's going.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, I probably won't be in very long, but I'm up.
Yeah, it's all good. Join in on the fun for a little bit. It's great so far.
I was supposed to do maintenance on my aquarium instead of joining y'all.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing no maintenance right now. You'll flood out your little house.
And then some.
I was going to tell him, go ahead, we'll keep an eye on it for you.
Right. Yeah. Y'all would tell me once it's flooding. Yeah.
I'll tell you, once you hear that water hit the ground, now it's probably about time you need to stop putting water in it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
only
that's
done
the way up.
Yeah. I've only done that once in my life, and thankfully it was down here, but I haven't done it since.
I do it all the time.
Yeah, see,
Easy to do.
my little pond that I got in the front room. So I did it twice. So I went to remove the water, and I remove it with a pump and put it in a 5-gallon bucket. Well, I walked away and forgot I was removing water, so I took all the water out besides like 2 inches.
Oh
And then I was filling it back up and walked away, and then I'm flooding it. So it was like back to back. It was awful.
Yeah, that's
You're trying to fit 300 gallons in a 5-gallon bucket.
Yeah,
Yeah, that math doesn't work.
Too well.
That math does not work.
I mean, some reason the water is very clear. I don't know why.
It just looks crystal clear.
Yeah.
No problem.
It was pretty clear after that. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well, Curtis, we're kind of like pre-gaming for Sunday, aren't we?
Yeah, I guess so. We've been on a stream. We've been on a stream before, so.
Yep. It'll be fun though. We'll still have a good time. We might end up with the same crew on Sunday night if no one has to go to bed early for work next day.
I don't have to work till Tuesday, so
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got to work Monday night.
I get up pretty early. I'm up at 5:30 on Monday.
Okay, so you will not be participating on a late night stream.
I don't have to work, so
Not
Okay.
if it's too late.
Maybe MNC could stop by for a little bit.
Yeah. I have to work, but I stay up here tonight till midnight or 1 anyways.
or later.
Yeah. There's some times where I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely going to bed at like 10:30, 11 o'clock because I'm exhausted, and I still stay up till midnight or later.
Yep.
There's been some streams Curtis has been up till like 3 or 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
yeah, we've
Yeah.
done that in the past.
Yeah, and we got to remember New Year's is coming up, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was a long night. Very long.
Well, we went from Eddie's live stream to who was it? Alex on his or
Alex, yeah.
yeah, that was a long night. I paid for it too.
Uh-huh.
3 in the morning, maybe.
Oh no, that's not the problem. The problem was just keeping my eyes straight.
Oh,
I was drinking with Alex, and I thought I was gonna be able to keep up with him.
On
That
your
didn't
own?
work out.
yeah.
That didn't work. That plan did not work out very well.
No.
I was pulling an Eddie at the live stream, falling asleep in my chair.
I mean, this.
Yeah. That would be difficult. I think that would be my challenge too. Is if I was relaxing in Eddie's chair, I'd probably be struggling with like falling asleep live. Then people could make fun of me for like the next hour.
Well, Eddie's the originator of all these people that sleep on live streams. That was Eddie. He was the first one to do it.
So it's either him. It's either what, sleeping or being late to lives, right? That's your thing, Eddie.
Oh yeah.
Late to his own live streams.
Well, at least he gave me the power now that if he falls asleep, I can take him off the screen.
Yeah.
That's true.
And then I start calling him. Wake up.
Yeah.
Hey, do you know that you're still alive?
Yeah.
Oh man. Morning.
Oh, the best was is when you start snoring on this live stream.
Oh my gosh. See, I don't know. I think by then I'd done
That's
embarrassed
happened more
myself
than
and go
once.
off of YouTube.
Yeah, we'll be sitting here, we'll be talking, and then next thing you know, is that Eddie? Because you can't see his eyes because of his glasses, but he's always sitting like this,
Oh yeah.
and then he'll just sit
He
there
had the
real
light to
quiet.
shine on his glasses, and you never know it.
Yeah, next thing you know, you start hearing these noises coming out of that area. It's like, what the hell is he?
Yeah. Come on, man.
I mean, I can't help it. You guys are so smooth. And it's soothing.
That's Eddie saying that we're boring.
Yeah.
Right.
He falls asleep.
You guys are so smooth. You guys put me to sleep.
Oh man. Never a dull moment, right?
Never. Life's too short to make it dull.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I painted a big black metal stand today. Gonna be dragging it upstairs into this room that I'm in now tomorrow morning.
Oh.
Bye,
MC.
Bye, MNC.
Then on the
Oh, he's gone? Later.
on the second, I'm gonna meet up with Jeff, and we're gonna pick up a bunch of tanks from the Madison Aquarium Society. So I'll have 20 10-gallons to put on this rack. That'd be pretty nice.
You got your work cut out for you for the next little bit.
Yeah, it's gonna be a process.
See, that's my excuse. I didn't send you the fish because you don't have the tanks yet.
Oh, I got tanks. I got a tank ready for him.
My problem is every time I'm at work is when the post office and everybody's open.
Yeah.
I got to figure out how to sneak away from work or go in late or do something.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to have, because I kind of got the same problem Jorge has. I get these tanks and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna, they're gonna either be grow out tanks or they turn into like 3 different species breeding tanks, and it's just, they're fully planted, and I just Yeah,
the only reason the ones over there that I'm my breeding project is because I have to get on a step ladder to get to them. So that's the only reason they're still unscaped.
Yeah.
Pretty soon we're going to see your new purchase. It's going to be that rolling step ladder.
Yeah, I know, like the libraries have.
Yeah, I was about to say the library where you can just shift down, up and down the aquarium rack.
You have your curved rack to go around the room.
I could actually set one of those up in here the way I got the tanks now.
I don't have a tall enough ceiling to do that. It wouldn't work out for me.
Yeah, I think this ceiling is 9 feet. I think it's like 9 feet tall.
To say that's how they do it at like Petco and PetSmart, ain't it? They just got that big wall of tanks, and they got the little ladder. Because that thing's always in the way of what I'm trying to look at.
Yeah, and the floor is always wet.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's like it looks like 8 feet, but we're not accommodating for like the woodwork that's going across it, plus my air vents, my heating vents. So that's makes it even a foot less.
Oh.
So yeah, it's small, but upstairs it's taller ceiling. So I guess that's where the you kind of have to like pick and choose, I guess. I'd rather have a big living room and stuff with tall ceilings as opposed to like a basement that I wasn't planning to put a fish room in or have a YouTube channel. And here we are. So it works though.
So
Eddie's
why is
got-
everybody talking about a step ladder? Wasn't your original ladder good enough? You had to get a step ladder too?
6 for 1. Use a stepladder all the time.
Depending on what I'm doing to these, I got to get my ladder out.
Yeah, I got a stepladder for feeding these 2 tanks. Actually, it just makes things so much easier.
Yeah, if I'm really trying to get into my 60-gallon tall tank, then yeah, I need a little, just a little step.
Yep.
I'm not that tall though.
I'm 5'8.5", 5'9", something like that. So
Yeah, I'm like 5'8" with shoes on. So
Damn.
yeah. And plus, my wife, whenever she feeds a fish down here, she's shorter than me, so she usually uses the step ladder for the taller tanks anyway. So
Must mean I'm the tallest one here. Huh?
could be.
7 foot? No.
I'm 6 foot and I'm the shortest one in my family.
Yeah.
Oh,
My brother that's 2 years older than me is 6'5".
okay. Can you dunk a basketball?
Not anymore. He
Oh.
could. He could when we were young. Yeah. I almost did.
Curtis, so why did they move the date on the event? I know you sent me an email.
And I don't know, except that if you notice, they added more stuff to it. So now it's the live bears, the cichlids, the Achilles, and the Betta Association. The IBC is going to be there. So now
I told you, Skull.
now it's not a triple crown. There's 5 of them.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, the first one I saw when I told you guys May and me and Eddie were talking about it, Rusty Wessel put a letter out. There's this fish collecting on this day and all of these events that were going on, and then the website just disappeared because we looked at it one night and we were just like, where'd it go?
Yeah.
And then Paul Sotero sent me that email that I forwarded to you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, it moved the whole month and everything changed.
Yeah.
My only concern is when you start having too many people with their hands in the pot, it just kind of never works out.
Well, and there's some that I might walk through.
I agree.
I'm probably not going to spend a whole lot of time in the Betta section. I don't know how long I'll spend in the Achilles section, but you never know.
So when they do these, they'll have like different halls where they'll have them, or is it all one? Oh, you don't know.
I've
I
never
don't
been to
know.
one.
Oh, okay.
They do it like the Triple Crown, didn't they have that separated where
Yeah.
cichlids are here?
Just do it all in one place. Make it like a big expo and just have people, and don't even put them, intermix everything.
Yeah.
That's the way I would do it.
I don't know. I figure it'll be a fun time. Get to see a bunch of stuff. I want to go on the collecting trip.
Did they say where they're going to go collect?
Yeah, it's at a river outside of town, but I don't remember what it was. I'm not collecting on the boardwalk.
That'll be interesting.
Never know what you get out of there.
Yeah, it might not be a fish.
Ducks.
Might be something that was thrown in there. But
Yeah.
Nice try, Brandon.
Yeah.
It was worth a shot, right?
Yeah, I'll ask again in like a minute. Should be out of that tunnel.
Let's go.
Yep.
Actually, that club is having an auction next Sunday.
Yeah, are you going?
I'm going to Alcochella.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. I'm going to be in Alcochella over that time.
Are you driving up there or are you actually flying?
I'm flying to Alcochella. To Florida?
Didn't you drive all the way out there last year or something like that?
No. Oh, okay. Last year, I flew up to Missouri, and I drove my sisters down there to Florida because they were moving.
Oh, okay. I was saying,
yeah.
that's still a long drive.
but they paid the cost is covered. See, there's a difference.
It's still not working, Brandon. She's still in the
I was wondering if anybody knows Steve Chong.
Isn't he an aquascaper?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
he'll be doing the escape off at Aquashella.
I saw that picture, but I didn't know either one of them. So.
Yeah. Yeah, he was actually here in a local fish store a while back. Their aquascape.
What's the main event at Aquashella this year? Is anything that's going to be different as opposed to the last one?
I don't know. I'm hearing bits and pieces, but not enough to share yet.
Okay.
Well, wasn't there more of a push now to try to go back to supporting content creators? And
Yes.
Okay. I thought that's what I heard Rob say.
Yeah, but I don't know at what point that is right now.
Yeah, you probably won't ever see where they give up all that room for that stage to do the live streams and all that. 'Cause
Yeah.
they gave up a lot. They gave up a lot of vendor room to have the YouTube thing going on.
Right.
Yeah, but you don't really need that much space. All you need is a little table and say, have at it.
True.
But I don't know about y'all, but if you go back, look at the videos of the old live streams from back then versus now at Aquashella, the size of the crowd is a big change.
Yeah.
Okay, but good or bad? More people or less people?
It was more back then.
Oh.
I
think the novelty is starting to wear out. I mean, I think people are just kind of like, they go back and it's the same thing over and over. And they're like, okay, been there, done that.
Yeah. I wonder if like people are maybe just getting burnt out from going like maybe all the time, I guess, per se, as opposed to just wanting to go there to meet new people. I mean, I guess there's different reasons for going, right? Kind of like what Eddie and I were talking about last time. It's like we should just go for the experience of meeting new people and getting to know other content creators as opposed to just seeing the main stage.
But is Aquachella still the place to be able to do that? That's my question, because it seems like every year there's less and less content creators showing up.
I don't know, Eddie. Is there a lot more? There's a lot of content creators at the last Aquashella and previous ones, or?
I mean, maybe no, it's about the same, or maybe even more even. Yeah. Then again, my horizon of creators has grown in the past year or two too. So it's kind of hard to tell.
That's what I was going to say. There's a lot of them. When I went my one time, there were creators, but I didn't know who they were till I met them there.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Because they're not in the fish fam, whatever you want to call it. But they still had channels that had thousands of subscribers.
Right.
You just didn't know it.
Fathom might have a good point too, just because of the economy nowadays. Money might be tight as well for people. That could be a point.
But isn't of all the conventions the cheapest ones to get in? Because or unless it's changed, I thought it was only like $10 or $20, I think. Or
I don't know what the daily pass is. And I got the VIP pass the last time. It was $85.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It was around $80 for like both days or whatever.
I got in Friday when everybody was setting stuff up. It was Saturday, Sunday. You got the free shirt, which is like $25 if you buy one.
Yeah.
And we got the dinner that Friday night.
Yeah.
And like Flip Aquatics and Corey and all of them guys were at the dinner. So I don't think 85 was bad for 3 days.
And Joe, you asked a while back the other night about the speakers.
Uh-huh.
there is a tank. The owner of the tank is going to be there.
Oh yeah. What the heck is his name? The bald guy, right?
Yeah, Raymer.
Yeah.
Raymer. Yeah,
Mhm. Brett,
he'll be
yeah.
there. He's pretty cool.
Have you met him before?
I got to hang out with him quite a bit last time.
Okay.
I met him a couple times already. He's cool.
Yeah.
Then Rob with Aquatics will be there, and Paul Cafaro will be there.
Okay.
And that's what they're showing right now on the website.
Okay.
Now, okay, not website on the page, Instagram account.
Oh, on the Instagram, yeah. Because when I went on the Aquashella website, it just said like previous people, but it never said like who actually was going to be there.
Yeah. Since you mentioned that, let me see if I can pull it up. Hold on.
Now we're gonna have to figure out when the other Aquashellas are, because there's usually one in May in Dallas. There's gonna be that in May, and then this other event in June down the road.
I'll be there both probably.
Oh yeah, you live down there. It's a full day driving for me to get there.
Henry, for just walking into Aquarium Fantasy, we started with Jorge from Mexicali, but now we're on a Hollywood Square sort of thing. So
yeah, I blame it all on Vibes. He's the one that started it all.
But yeah, it's been going pretty well.
Eddie was looking for an excuse not to have to do maintenance on his aquariums.
Yeah.
Why, is that a bad thing? No. Joe, you're right. The website is outdated. That is not cool.
Yeah, that's why I was asking you whenever we were live the other night. I was like, it really doesn't say much about who's going to be there. So I was like, well, that's not very informative, because I remember the year or the time before that it actually showed like on the day of when they were presenting. So I don't know.
Right. Yeah, because it said that Brian a box set is going to be there. Nah. No, this is way outdated. This was a couple years ago.
Well, for an event that big, that should tell you something.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are dropping out or something, or don't want to do it.
I actually met up with Chris last weekend. He's the guy with Hypera.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And he mentioned to me that they still have a lot of room yet, a lot of window space yet. So that's not good.
Yeah.
But that was last. What?
Eddie, I was going to ask you from Stephen P. If Dallas is still the biggest Aquashella.
They got all their people listed, don't they? Am I looking at the right one?
You already know I'm a Texan. Of course, Dallas is the biggest.
Oh no!
But no.
No.
If I compare it to Daytona or Orlando, oh yeah, Dallas is quite a bit bigger.
Okay.
I
don't know.
Chicago yet. But.
The last Daytona or the last Dallas was like a letdown.
Oh yeah, that was small.
Because I went to Daytona and it was the whole Aquashell experience. You had the tunnel that you walk through with all like the UV stuff, and it was like super cool. And it seemed like it had a lot more people. And then in Dallas, there was no tunnel, which is like the staple of Aquashella for years. They just had the inflatable stuff like against a wall.
Yeah.
Like a couple of them were spread out.
So if that would be kind of an honor, like if I had gone, at both locations and then come to that location and be like, oh, why is it over there? That was kind of dumb, sort of thing.
Now, I didn't go to the Chicago one, what was it, like a month or two ago? If anyone went, did they have like the tunnel there, or are they just like stopping that?
Yeah, I don't think they did. I know Kyle went and he made a little video on it, and I would think that would have been in the video if it was.
Yeah.
But something's going to be different though in Daytona versus Dallas. I already know that. Because some of my buddies that work the art at previous shows have a job. So
Oh, okay.
versus in Dallas, they didn't. So
I think I know who you're talking about.
something's coming. So yeah, that's okay. Hey Alex, by the way, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Thanks for asking. How are you doing today, Eddie?
Oh, hi, Alex.
I'm not
Hey,
doing
man.
good now.
They want to see Alex's bike shirts.
Yeah. Those
Joe,
are,
Curtis, Brett, and Jorge.
Are those full-grown bikers?
I mean, like
Bashir's.
These years.
this one here is like these
Picture.
two are like 10 years old,
Okay,
but they're still growing.
that's crazy.
I
Those
mean,
things are huge.
they still got like another good 15 years on them.
Yeah.
You want to see them a little bit? These two are
Yeah.
trying to breed. If you want to see what breeding behavior looks like, they can't, but they're trying. This big Emily here is a female, and that ornate is still kind of juvenile, but it's a male. And it's been trying to breed with my big Emily for about a week now. She'll figure it out. Here,
Yeah, that's,
I didn't see you put me on the big screen.
oh yeah, I wanted to see. Wow.
Trying to do this in reverse.
They look bigger from the last time I saw them.
But you see these two,
Uh-huh.
you'll see them do a little bit of nipping, which is normal. They're not like biting hard or anything. And then you'll see them start like pushing their tail section against each other.
Okay.
But it's really just that male ornate right here that's trying to do everything. I'm trying to get out of the way here. But yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. Eddie, you're sneaky. So funny.
I'm doing what I
You're
can.
really trying hard for this, aren't you?
I am.
You need to ask
I-
these videos for
I
that.
want to meet you in person.
Yeah, we need to make that happen. I've been trying to do that with Jim from Happy Place Aquatics, and our schedules just are not matching up. And he really lives
You
like
guys
an
are in
hour.
the same state though.
I know, we're like an hour away, and I don't know, it's just not working out. Yeah, we really live like an hour away, and we still haven't met yet.
And you
Wow.
Noisy lives there too, right?
I don't know.
He's in Michigan, but he's still only like an hour away from you guys.
Yeah, because he met Jim at the fish store somewhere.
Yeah, at was it up north, like near Cleveland?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Okay.
I just saw him on the video.
No, I think Jim went to Michigan.
Yeah, because wasn't that same video where he saw Joey from DIY?
No,
Oh, that's something different. Okay.
yeah, that was up in Canada.
Oh, that's right. He did go to Canada. That's right.
So if anybody can help Joe out, go ahead and donate. It's good
You know,
cause, Joe.
you do know that there's a threshold that I still have to hit.
Oh,
Not only that is I don't even have my watch hours on here, so that doesn't help me either.
We're
What are
working
your
on
watch hours at?
3,500. Currently, if I look right now on Studio, 3,510.
Mm.
So you just do a live stream with a bunch of hooligans every week. You'll be there in no time.
oh yeah.
Here we are.
Mhm.
And all
You
of us,
just call me a
all of us
hooligan.
can stay on for hours. Too, right?
What was that?
All of us
I
are
would.
known to stay on for hours.
Yeah. What else do we got better doing on a Friday night? It seems like we're all just like to hang out here.
Keeps us out of trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. So Alex, you say that
So Eddie,
you plan to show up Friday night, eh?
I mean, if I can make it happen, I'll be showing up Saturday morning, I think.
You gonna drive all night?
I think I double checked. It's actually only like a 7-hour drive. I don't know why I was thinking 12. I guess I was still thinking about Dallas.
Yeah.
So since it's only like a 7-hour drive, I can leave Saturday morning and I'll just have to leave Sunday afternoon. So I won't miss all of Sunday.
Yeah.
So I'll just need to sort out a hotel for myself for Saturday night.
Nice.
But
Eddie
Yeah.
says he's got a spare tub in his room that you're more than welcome to stay in.
Yeah.
I bet you his tub is going to have like 3 koi in it. He's
That
going to be
would have
saving
been
them.
cool.
I want to see him walk on the plane with 3 koi.
I would do it.
I know you
I
would.
mean, everybody be looking at me cross-eyed, but that's okay.
Yeah, I think I'm going to make it. I mean, I haven't seen you for like a whole 6 months or something. So
I
I got
know.
to figure something out.
Right. He's
I
really
got
missing
some
me.
stickers I got to give you.
Hey, I got some koozies. You see the new ones?
I saw the new one. Where did I put my other one? Oh, it's in here.
Where did you make those at?
My brother makes them.
Your brother?
Yep.
Really put this on my Zaxby's cup, but it won't fit on my Zaxby's. I'll make it fit. Hold on.
I always have to get mine off the shelf.
There we go.
All you got to do is hot Tua to it, and it'll fit.
Yeah. Oh, geez, you had to bring that up, didn't you?
I've heard that in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while for me. Maybe a couple weeks.
Uh,
Yeah, that got old so quick.
yeah.
It got way popular real quick, and then got old really quick.
Yeah.
She's so popular,
just-
she's got her own show now.
It just
Yeah.
got overused.
Yep.
Hey, Jody. Hey, Ben Sharp. No, hey, Alex. The best time is in the evening after the show, or before the show.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
I
like
know.
the after party.
I want to be able to stay Sunday night too, but I am starting a new job that Monday.
Yeah.
Just call in
And,
sick on Monday.
Exactly.
I'm
You
sure
gotta
that'll
work-
be a great impression on your first day of work.
What'd
Yeah.
you say?
This time you got just
Call in sick.
Hey, you got COVID.
Yeah, no, I don't think I can do that.
Oh man.
It's
Don't worry.
it'll be my first day, and I gotta be there early, probably like 7 or 8 in the morning. So I got to make sure I get home Sunday at a reasonable time, and I've got all my clothes and stuff laid out. But I'm also like hoping, what if I go down there and I have like car issue, and then I'm just like stuck. So I've got like a backup plan in place already, but I don't want to risk it, you know.
Yeah.
But I am
don't you have
risking
a
it.
buddy that has a private jet?
But I gotta turn my volume up. I can barely hear you guys.
Uh,
That's
I'm
if
just
you ever
saying.
have a jet.
Doesn't your buddy have a private jet?
It's a helicopter, not a jet.
No.
But I don't think he's flying this weekend.
Bummer.
If he
That's
is, he's
right.
probably not going to Florida.
Hey, did you tell him that Vibes is going to be down there?
Oh yeah. I can't imagine what kind of video it would be if I land in Aquashella parking lot in a helicopter.
That'd be cool, and
That'd be
very
nuts.
dope.
That'd
Yeah.
be possible. That's what that would be.
That would be worth it, especially with
Exactly.
wives in a helicopter too. You can bring them with the flight.
Tell you what.
Nah, I'll be driving. I'll take my Prius, so I'll have the best gas mileage. I
Perfect.
think Jorge knows about my Prius.
What is that from Jeff Dunham? Like one of the first earlier ones. He's like, a Prius, that's not a car, that's a lunchbox.
Yeah, it's not actually a Prius. It's it gets like 11 miles per gallon, so I just joke and call it the Prius.
I was gonna guess and say 15, but that's not even
Yeah.
right.
Well, Curtis, what are you getting yours? We got the same engine.
Yeah, mine's in a truck.
Yeah, I know, but
It gets 11 or 12.
yeah, you got the 5.7, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, I guess it depends how I drive, I guess.
It sounds good. Sounds really good, and when you stomp on it passing people, they definitely know you're going around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had this little Nissan rental car that I took to Chicago when I went there for the week this week. And that little thing got some great gas mileage. I think when I
Yeah.
got back, I had to fill it up before I brought it back to Enterprise. And I only put $17 in it. And that's
Mhm.
driving here to Chicago, around Chicago, and then to and from my classes for 3 days. And then all the way back here. And it's $17 in gas. That's crazy.
Yeah. When I went to Dallas, I went with Fishwit. I was driving in her car, and it was like way back, like 30 plus mile per gallon. No,
Yeah.
I think we could have got it in one go, but 13-hour trip, we stopped a few times. But I couldn't do that in my car. I'd have to stop like every 2 or 3 hours probably. I think it's got a 18.5 gallon tank or something like that, but it goes quick.
Say my Tiguan gets pretty good gas mileage. I can go for a while on that, but I think that's just because it's got a little bit bigger tank.
If I'm on cruise control, it'll do like the cylinder deactivation, so it'll cut it in half. So I only have 4 cylinders if I turn it on, and I'll get like mid-20s, maybe 28 if it's downhill and the wind is blowing by me. So we'll see. Hopefully nothing happens though, because I don't want to miss my first day at this new place.
Yeah, I don't think that would be a good look.
No, I'd be pretty screwed.
Yeah, good
So
luck on your first day.
Yeah, thanks.
Mhm.
I already got my friend. I told him if I need help, he'll come pick me up, and then I'll figure it out.
Uh-oh. Y'all better behave now. Matt's here.
Oh no.
Is that Liquid Zoo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there goes the PG-13. That's out the window.
Especially if that link gets posted if he joins in.
Oh, yeah.
Hey Matt, you're just in time to watch Zen come up here and stream with us.
Yeah. She was just about to.
Yeah. Not now.
Is she going through another tunnel?
Yeah.
Funny thing, there's no tunnels in Houston, so I don't know what tunnel she's going into.
Oh boy.
Now, hopefully, Mandy shows up to either the Quimp Expo there in Houston or the event in San Antonio next year.
Have you met Mandy, Eddie?
I have not.
Okay.
I should have. I'm that close.
Wasn't she saying she might go to Daytona?
Secrets.
She might kill me if I told you that.
Or just say she'll be there.
Actually, I might get to meet her in a couple weeks.
Yeah, she really has no excuse not to go to the one in Houston though.
So what's the deal with San Antonio? It got moved.
Yeah,
When's it now?
it's June of 2030.
June.
I already forgot. What was it?
Uh-oh. If you get Zen's face, body, and voice live on your stream the next 5 minutes, I'll go meet Mike.
It's June 12th to the 15th.
Yeah. It didn't get moved. It was always that day, that weekend.
No, it was like in like early May or something, wasn't it?
If you would ask my at the club down there.
The email I got from the library said that it was like May 10th or something like that.
Right. They didn't know.
Whoops.
Oh, now look at that.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Even better.
Whoa.
What happened? There we go.
Not
Stupid
a
touch screen. We're good.
I mean, June. It's still too far out for me to plan, but I'd like to go. When is the Dallas Aquashella supposed to be next year? Are they?
They had posted it yet.
When is it usually? Like spring?
Is there going to be a Aquashella next year?
I mean, they're gonna do it every year because they're still making money no matter
Yeah.
what. So if they're making money, they're gonna do it.
If it's based off the past 2 years, it'd be in May. 18, 19, something like
Oh,
that.
you think that's why they moved the one in San Antonio because they didn't want to compete with Aquashella?
They should do them like the same weekend across the street from each other, and then more people would come and they would just go back and forth. But they would just look at it as competition and say no.
Yeah.
That's what if a bunch of these conventions just kind of like.
Although
Plan
I get
stuff
a
out
feeling
like
that the crowd that goes to Aquashella and the one that'll go to the one in San Antonio are not the same crowd though.
Well, that's
Right.
why it would benefit though, because if they're right there, like even if it's not like your forte or whatever, you're gonna go to see some fish stuff if it's right across the street from you.
But then Eddie won't be able to go to 2 events then, see?
Well, yeah, I mean, you would just go like back and forth. It's
Yeah.
not like you're buying a ticket to either one, Eddie.
What? What we talking about?
Yeah, the last time I bought a ticket was when they said we were going to have the VIP like party and all that, and then it ended up having it restricted even further.
Yeah.
That pissed me off. That was dumb.
Yeah.
I think that was the first Daytona I went to,
Yeah.
where they changed up the rules and it became like just a vendor party. But then in Dallas, I didn't even go to the vendor party.
You missed out, Alex. That was a blast.
Yeah. Dude, we were so tired
Yeah.
because it was Saturday. We
Yeah.
just drove 14 and a half hours or so from Atlanta to Dallas and then did the whole show. I like recorded like a video or something too, and
Right.
then I got all this fish too, and I brought him back to the hotel. We went out with you for I think for dinner, and then we were just freaking. I think I passed out.
Yeah. No, it was cool. I was able to sit down and talk with some of they won't say it, the higher up creators.
Yeah.
They done a show, you couldn't do that during the show. So that was cool.
Was it like all the higher up creators on one side and us peasants over here?
No, it was all mixed in. It's cool.
Mm.
And that's where I got to hang out with Tank.
Yeah, Brett Reimer.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
Yeah, but he's
Yeah.
not a big content creator.
No, no, he's not. But he is famous though in the fish community.
He gave me some like cat supplements.
Mm-hmm.
Cat supplements?
Yeah, he was there on behalf of like a pet health nutrition company. And so he was talking to me, and then he was like, "You guys got cats or anything?" And Fishwit had a cat. Well, she still does, but he's like, "Here, try some of this stuff," and gave us these little supplements for the cat.
Yeah. By the
You
way,
even have a cat?
Do I know? But she does.
Oh,
Oh, I was just like, well, that's kind of odd to get cat supplements, and you're like, I don't have a cat.
Yeah.
Do you want one?
No.
he's like, I have catfish.
I wouldn't mind a cat as long as it didn't mess around in here too much.
right.
But I can't just go and buy a cat. I have to wait on like the cat distribution system to suddenly have like a stray kitten outside my car door or something when I come out of Walmart or something, you know?
Does anyone know, is Tank still being showed on TV?
No.
It's not being
Oh.
shown, but you can watch it
I mean,
online.
yeah.
I don't know if it's Hulu or what.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you could find it in most places. I just know that, I guess in a nutshell, they quit doing it because of burnout.
Yeah, I think they had like a big family feud as well.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
want to say you can get it on one of the streaming services. I think Prime if you get like Nat Geo Plus or something.
Yeah.
I think they got it on
everything
there.
is on Prime if you just pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that they all agreed that it was more enjoyable when they first started doing it, but as it got more popular, it got a little family discrepancy, like Getty said, and then it got a little too out of hand and unrelative to what they really wanted to keep it original for.
It's like all the shows that start out where they have like a thing that they have in mind, and then once they kind of do it a few times, the next time they got to do it bigger and better.
Yeah.
And they need to strike a bigger, broader audience. I mean, it's like some of these YouTubers we see where they keep changing stuff up and trying to go more elaborate, and it ends up not working out the way that they thought, or they're not getting the results.
It was like Pimp My Ride, where
Yeah.
at the end none of the cars would work other than for the show, the episode, and that was it.
There's only so many PlayStations you can shove into a Chevy Astro before you get tired of it.
Yep. There's so many times you can hear Haktua before you get tired of it.
Yeah. And I know, like with the show Tanks, that big cylinder tank that they put out, that one ended up leaking. Like, I can't remember how many times they said, but like they had to go back and fix it like over and over and over. Like, eventually, it's just so much that they have to deal with. It's not worth the effort.
Yeah.
Well, didn't Ohio Fish Rescue end up with 2 of them?
Yeah, he's got 2 of them. Just bought them from auctions, I think.
Yeah, the gumball tank and the Dwight Howard tank.
Well, the 2 long ones in that back room that were in that.
The ones that were in that hotel.
Yeah, those came out of the casino.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got those 2.
Yeah.
That gumball tank. I've seen some other ones that are like that. I just like, I can't imagine having to clean it because the opening is pretty small and it's a weird angle.
Yep.
And when you light it, you can't really like light it just from the top.
Mm-mm.
And then it's always just like so much surface area for algae on that acrylic.
Mm-hmm.
You can't use a normal scraper. You have to use something either round or with a sponge on it.
Yep.
That's probably why they got rid of it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
But don't you know, Alex?
What?
Use a pleco?
Do I what now?
Use a pleco for it, maybe?
You use a pleco for the
plecos only eat algae and they stay this small. So
you
could probably use like 20 of them in there, you know?
Yeah. You probably slam some autos in there or something. But
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But no, I feel bad for them fish that ended up in that drum set tank.
Oh yeah.
Man, there's
Yeah.
no way that was any good.
No.
Yeah, I don't know about that tank, but once they went and like set up the show and filmed or whatever, they went and took all those fish back out, and then
Yeah.
they let the tanks like cycle and stuff, and they had like an aquarium maintenance team would take over after they were done filming, and like they'd come back and re-add the fish over time, I guess.
Wow, Zen's blowing you up, Brandon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she keeps saying something about coming up here.
Yeah, that's what I keep hearing too.
Zen, we had an agreement. If I would come up here, you were coming up here. That's what we.
Yeah,
we
that was the
discussed.
agreement, I think.
The fact that she said that means that she was a little bit scared because I was catching up.
Uh-huh.
Because they didn't actually want me. They just wanted the package.
Yeah.
They really want Zen.
Cause see, I've only, I mean, if we're to, whenever the point started, I've probably only been on like maybe, I don't know, 10 streams getting points. So I feel like if we start fresh, I got a good chance of beating Zen.
On whose channel?
Stevens.
Yeah, I never get any points. I'm there maybe half the time,
Hey, good night, Jody.
but there's no way I'm beating some of these freaking wizards that guess everything so fast. The craziest is the channel logos when it's like 1 pixel and it's forced to be black and white, and then someone's like, "Oh, that's Eddie's channel," and they're like, "Oh, you got it," and it's like, how did you get that? How did you make that
Oh
conclusion?
yeah. I couldn't get those at all. I guess I'm not around. I've been around long enough to get any of those.
Someone even made a cheat sheet for it where it's got pretty much everyone's channel logos.
Okay.
But I don't know
Well,
how old it is. Some people change their logos now and then.
Besides vibes.
Well, I didn't recognize my own logo. He changes it up so much that I couldn't even.
Yeah, he'll like flip it over upside down and like
Oh.
they make it black and white.
Tricky.
Well, no, it wasn't even black and white. It was some other color when it was small, and then it wasn't until later
Funny.
on. No, I don't think anybody got it. As a matter of fact,
That's funny. I never thought of it turning it upside down. That's kind of clever.
Yeah, and it'll like zoom in and pixelate it. Like
So,
I think mine's been on there once or twice, and I'm like, I don't even know whose that is.
I'm usually not even home when they're on. About the time I got jumped into this stream is when I came walking in here. So
Yeah.
usually doing something.
Yeah.
well, guys, I'm gonna jump off. My wife just came in, and I'm gonna go hang out with her before we go to bed. So I just want to say, Joe, thanks for having me up, and thanks to you guys for coming out and hanging out with us.
Yeah. Thank you,
Yeah, that's
Jorge.
good
Again, I
stuff.
appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
All right, you guys take care.
Yeah, later, Jorge.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. Let the fun begin.
This is gonna be we're staying live till 2 p.m. now,
Oh,
Yep.
No.
This is. I told myself I wasn't going to stay up this late, and it seems to happen every night for me.
That's not a bad thing.
huh? I'm always like, oh yeah, I'm almost done. Maybe another hour, and then another hour goes by, another one
Yep.
goes by.
My wife says, "Guess I'm hanging up by myself again."
Uh-huh.
We had a good weekend, weekend. So last weekend and this week, I should say. So did a lot of stuff with wife and daughter, and did some pumpkin searching and carving and all that sort of stuff. So it was fun.
Nice. So has anyone decorated their tanks for the season?
I know that Jim, he didn't put fish in it, but I think if I'm not mistaken, he put like a little video out about how he put all these little Halloween stuff in a tank, but I don't think there's fish in it. But me personally, no.
So I think Stefan from Lush and Salty put out a video of a tank he did for Halloween.
I gotta go see that. I didn't see anything from him lately. He's got a beautiful tanks.
Yeah, he does.
I saw the notification, but I didn't see it. Jack and Dan, of course, they did one.
Yeah, I love Stefan's channel. He was like one of my first subscribers. Like in like the first like 20.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually got to meet him not long ago at that swap in Chicago that I met Kyle at.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Curtis Simmons C wants to know if that 115 is ready to go.
Yeah, still got to build a stand, and I got to make room for it in here. So I was talking to Vibes the other day about it. I think I'm gonna have to get one of those metal racks and turn all these on there. Then I can get rid of all this too, put it over there.
Yeah, we're gonna get some pumpkins tomorrow. When the girls carve them, I'm gonna take some chunks of it and see how the plecos like it. I got a bunch of baby plecos growing out. I'm gonna toss some chunks in there and see what they do.
I pulled my plants up again.
I've seen the one floating around.
MNC, are you talking about Jim's? Are you talking about that series? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he's talking about
The
Stefan.
picture that was there, it had like.
Oh boy. Oh, they didn't like that.
I lights to mine. Does that count?
I have to wait for this plant to come back to this side now.
Just reach in there and get it. You'll be all right.
It's on this side. My opening is up here. But you can't see. It's over here, and I have this side open.
What you need is some long tongs. Pincher.
Yeah, I have some, but they're like a foot long.
Oh. You need ones that are like a 3 foot long.
I need one of those like grandpa grabber things. See, these are my tongs, but it doesn't reach.
Hey, Alex, here you go. You can use mine.
Yeah, I need that.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Here, thanks.
Yeah.
I bought like 3 of those, and my wife has stolen all 3 of them.
You want to see how long it takes before I lose a finger? They don't like my hand.
It said, don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Oh no, they totally would.
Until you put your hand in with the clownfish.
Now they're stirring up everything.
They're we are skipping it.
Oh,
Bite
thanks,
strength
guys.
of a biker. Have you ever gotten bitten?
No,
Okay.
my Oscar will bite me, and that one's not that bad.
Okay.
But like this guy, he'll mess me up. If any of the bigger ones bit me, I would need to go get stitches.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, I saw this one picture on the forum. They just take all the skin right off the finger. Well, I was gonna try to get this, but now it's out of my way.
So, Alex, what are you hoping to get from Aquashella?
I don't know. I mean, let me see. I got a South American lungfish over here.
Yeah.
That's the one I got in Dallas, and he's doing good. He'll hopefully be in this tank maybe in like a year or two.
Nice.
Yeah, those are cool.
Oh, I really want one of those tiger morays. there was one, and it's funny story is they had it there, and I can't remember how much it was. Maybe it was like 200 or something, maybe 150, something like that.
Your
And
plant's ready.
I wanted shit.
Get it.
Woo!
Oh, thanks for that. I'll put that
Oh,
back in there. Yeah, so I saw it, and I mean, it was a good bit of money, but I wanted it, and I was like, okay, so if this is still here at the end of the day, I'm gonna get it. And when I came back at the end of the day, it was gone, and they just bagged it up or whatever, and I was like, all right, well, that's just fate. I don't need it, right?
Right.
And then Sunday, after I'm done with all the Aquashella stuff, I go to Fish Gallery to film that video I did with them.
Right.
And when I was there, the guy working the register at Fish Gallery, I was talking to him about the show because I think I was wearing my shirt.
Right.
And he's like, "Oh, you should see what I just got." And he's like, "You can come back here." And so I go behind the counter, and he's got a white bucket, and takes off the lid, and he's got a little bubbler, and then he's got the tiger moray in there.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, "You're the one that bought it." And I told him how like I was gonna buy it if it was still there, but I guess he beat me to it.
Right.
But I think he said he was gonna either keep it or have it in one of the display tanks there or something.
Nice.
But I was like, it's just so crazy because I was just looking at that fish. Like
Right.
every time I walked by, I would like side eye it and it'd be like, okay, it's still there, it's still there.
Right.
I'd love to get that. There's some guy on Instagram that has a tank, probably like a 150 or something like that, but he's got a whole bunch of them. But his tank is just completely full of like gigantic I guess it's Amazon swords, like the really big Echinodoros.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. He does these videos where he's like feeding. I think he's got like a Mabu puffer in there too. I don't know. Maybe they're fajakas. But he's got all these like tiger morays in the freshwater, and they eat pretty aggressive, and they're like beautiful looking fish. I'm like, I could totally use that because obviously I like, the oddballs and stuff.
Right.
Other than this guy. My Oscar and then my Texas in the back.
So
how many
what's
gallons
this
is that tank?
This is a 180.
Okay.
It's not that yellow in person. It's this light. I'm not a big fan. I just haven't set up my actual lights.
Okay. Do you have a substrate? Is that just a sand substrate?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I've heard like bikers kind of like mess up the substrate quite a bit, and it can be hard to maintain. But
Yeah, they prefer sand. There's an argument online whether or not they will or will not eat gravel.
okay.
They technically won't because they have like these dual gular plates in the back of their mouth. So anything that they swallow would have to be intentionally swallowed. But then there's also been dead ones found when they cut them open, they do have gravel in their stomach. And then the people will argue saying, "Oh, well, they must have had like a swim bladder issue, and they ate the rocks to weigh themselves down."
Oh, okay.
But it's like, you know what? If there's a possibility that they could be eating the rocks one way or another, I don't want them to.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but other people say it's okay to keep them on gravel. I know the author of the Beischer Handbook, Joshua Pickett, he was saying how originally he would say all this stuff about no gravel, and then in recent years he's been going back and retracting that and saying that they won't actually swallow it.
Okay.
But again, I've seen so many that have been dissected that had rocks in their stomach. I just don't want to risk it.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
Sand is probably the best for them, and you want to make like a nice dark color too,
Mm-hmm.
because they'll change colors based on the substrate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why I have black, because it brings out like my my Emily's whenever they swim by. Of course, now they're all in the back. When they swim by, you see their stripes are really vibrant. And then my Dalhousie has like almost green coloring now, just because I have a really dark substrate, black walls.
Huh. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
What do you feed them?
So
Pentosas?
today I didn't feed them. Yesterday they got tilapia. The day before that they got silver sides. And the day before that they had squid.
Okay.
And then most other days I'll do I've got pellet food. Hikari massivore is okay if you don't have to feed a lot,
Yeah.
but it'll smell. And then if I have to feed like this tank gets a lot of food, so I have Northfin carnivore pellet. I use the 10 millimeter.
Okay.
That's kind of like their staple. And I used to do like every other day would be like frozen, but lately I've been doing like 3-4 days in a row of frozen food just because I have so much right now. I'm trying to get some more room in my freezer.
You just get that from the grocery store and stuff, right? Just whatever's there, or do you have to get it from a fish store?
So with things like tilapia and shrimp, I'll get it just from Walmart. They'll have tilapia fillets in a big bag.
Yeah.
And then each individual fillet is like vacuum sealed in its own little package. And so I'll throw the whole thing in the freezer. And like the day before I feed a tilapia, I will take the fillet and throw it in my fridge. And it'll kind of like thaw out. And then when I go to feed it, I'll just I'll take a knife and I'll dice it up pretty small. And this tank they could take a whole tilapia fillet, but I maybe give them 3/4.
Okay.
And then the other bit I'll give to my African lungfish, who would eat a whole fillet if I let them. Like I'll eat nonstop. And then like market shrimp too. You just get uncooked shrimp. I get the extra small, but they're still pretty big.
Okay. That's interesting.
Good night, Benji.
Good night.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna retire as well.
You only got 2 hours to go.
No. No, I gotta get up early, and I got a buddy coming over. We're gonna move this racket or this stand into the house. But,
Yeah, I think I'm gonna call this stream a night too. I was trying
Yeah.
to end it here. It's been really good. I appreciate everyone coming on here, and I wasn't expecting this. I was just thought it was gonna be me and Jorge, but it's been a pleasure having you guys on here.
Yeah.
My
Hopefully we'll
apologies.
get you some watch hours so you can get some super chats.
Yeah. I'm hoping this will up it a little bit for sure. So I appreciate it.
Thanks, Joe.
All right.
Cool.
All right, everyone. Everyone else in the chat, if I missed your chat for something, I apologize. But anyways, thanks again, everyone, for coming in. And we'll see you guys tomorrow and Sunday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Later.